Hello there. Welcome to a space where the noise of the everyday world gently recedes, inviting the mind to wander through the deeper currents of time. Tonight we follow a question that hums beneath the very ground. We walk on a quiet echo within the stones of our oldest structures and a persistent whisper in the oldest stories we tell. What if we are not the first? What if a grand civilization not merely thousands but tens or even hundreds of thousands of years ago rose, flourished, and then dissolved back into the planetary memory? And what if in its wake it left traces half hidden in plain sight, woven into the fabric of our myths, patiently awaiting our rediscovery? It's a thought that unsettles the neat linearity of our historical timelines. Those comfortable narratives of cave paintings, pyramids, empires and skyscrapers all culminating quite conveniently in us. But what if that timeline is merely the surface of a story far vaster, a symphony of forgotten ages? What if the Earth itself remembers more than it lets on, holding within its deep embrace the faint fingerprints of those who built before us, then vanished like breath on a cold morning? Wherever you are listening from tonight, perhaps a quiet room bathed in soft light or the hushed comfort of a warm bed, take a moment to feel the ground beneath you. Consider the layers of history that lie below the countless generations of life that have passed on that very patch of earth. The dust motes dancing in a sunbeam might contain grains of quartz that have witnessed epochs silent observers of deep time. If this planet, our living world, possessed a conscious memory, what would it recall of our brief fervent presence? And more profoundly, what would it remember of those who might have come before their accomplishments now, mere shadows in the deep geological archive? If this journey of slow, curious exploration resonates with you, if you find solace in these quiet mysteries, I would be grateful if you allowed this space to find its way to others. Now settle in. Let your breathing deepen your thoughts. Quiet. Let us embark on a journey to explore what it might mean if the first civilization on Earth scattered clues across continents, half hidden, half forgotten, quietly waiting to be understood by a future they could only imagine. The idea that we are merely the latest iteration, not the origin of civilization, is not new. It breathes within the ancient legends, in the hushed whispers of the past, in the way so many foundational stories begin not with once upon a time, but with long before our people there were others. For archaeologists, geologists, and the perpetually curious, this phrase holds a particular intrigue. Because with every layer of soil we peel back, with every ancient text re-examined, the line between myth and verifiable history grows ever thinner, more porous than we once believed. Traditionally, we mark the dawn of civilization with Sumer roughly 6,000 years ago, the birth of writing, the emergence of cities, the mastery of agriculture, the intricate dance of organized governance. But what if this was merely a reawakening, the latest reboot, in a much longer, cyclical process? Every few decades, the Earth offers up a new enigma that challenges our most fundamental assumptions. Consider Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey, a site that decisively overturned a major tenet of archaeology. Discovered to be over 11,000 years old, it was built by hunter-gatherers centuries, even millennia, before agriculture was thought to have enabled such monumental undertakings. Its massive stone pillars, intricately carved with symbolic animals and arranged in deliberate complex enclosures, should not have existed within our old timelines. Yet there it stands, real, heavy-weathered and utterly patient, a silent testament to a forgotten mastery. Discoveries like Göbekli Tepe compel scientists to ponder how many other such sites might lie beneath layers of sediment, disguised as natural formations or silently swallowed by the rising seas of antiquity. Our planet is an expert at concealment. Volcanic eruptions, cataclysmic floods, and the ceaseless grinding of tectonic plates constantly rewrite the landscape, erasing old stories. In a few mere millennia, even our most sprawling metropolises could vanish beneath encroaching forests, sprawling deserts, or the indifferent embrace of the oceans, leaving behind only puzzling fragmented traces for whoever comes next. The Anthropocene, our current geological epoch defined by human impact, may leave its own distinctive, albeit eroded, signature for future geologists to ponder, So if an advanced civilization existed tens of thousands of years ago, perhaps even millions, would we recognise its remnants today? Our minds, conditioned by myth and pop culture, often conjure images of lost cities like Atlantis, Lemuria, or Mu. These names, resonant and evocative, echo through cultures worldwide, each narrating a strikingly similar tale. A golden age of wisdom, a cataclysmic flood, a dramatic fall into the sea, a collective memory of people possessing knowledge far beyond their supposed time. It is tempting to dismiss these narratives as purely symbolic, beautiful metaphors, but myths we now understand often carry more than poetic imagery. They preserve fragments of memory passed down through generations until the original event is obscured by time, and only the story, like a whispered echo, remains. Geologists confirm that at the end of the last ice age, roughly 12,000 years ago, global sea levels rose dramatically by more than 100 metres. Vast coastal plains, once fertile and habitable, vanished beneath the waves. Entire regions where early humanity may have established settlements, perhaps even nascent organised communities, are now lost beneath the vast dark expanse of the ocean. Today, the continental shelves around the world are dotted with enigmatic formations, submerged terraces, curious geometric arrangements and structures that ignite intense debate. Some are undeniably natural, sculpted by the patient hand of water and time. Others, however, like the underwater ruins of Yonaguni in Japan or the submerged stone walls near Malta, invite deeper, more profound questions. Are these remnants of early architecture or merely extraordinary coincidences of erosion? The answers remain elusive, but the more we map the ocean floor with ever-increasing precision, the more anomalies we continue to find. Imagine for a moment walking across a landscape older than conscious memory, feeling the faint, deliberate pattern of human hands etched into the ancient stone. Lines carved not for mere aesthetic pleasure, but imbued with profound meaning. What were these forgotten artists and engineers attempting to communicate? What would they make of us constructing towering cities of glass and metal, measuring time with the invisible threads of satellites, yet still puzzling over their silent, enduring works? The very idea that knowledge could flow in cycles, that civilization might not be a linear ascent, but a repeating pattern, humbles us. It reminds us that progress, for all its dazzling allure, is not permanent. It is fragile, like a towering sandcastle awaiting the inevitable tide. The earth, in its grand, indifferent wisdom, does not preserve everything evenly. Organic materials, wood, fabric, even many metals, vanish quickly, eroding or oxidizing beyond recognition. Stone, however, possesses a profound endurance. This is why the oldest clues we find tend to be carved or meticulously built from it. When archaeologists uncover megalithic sites, vast stone circles, imposing pyramids, intricate terraces that predate written history, they often ponder not merely the how of their construction, but the profound why. There is a palpable sense of deliberate design that transcends mere survival. Someone long ago yearned to communicate with time itself, to create something that would resonate far beyond their individual lives. Perhaps that above all is the most enduring human impulse. Even our sprawling modern world might one day reduce itself to scattered stones. Concrete crumbles, steel rusts, plastics degrade into microfragments that eventually return to the Earth's elemental embrace. If future archaeologists were to examine the ruins of a modern city 100,000 years from now, what might they conclude? They might unearth concrete foundations, but our intricate languages, our dazzling technologies, our countless stories would likely be lost to them. They would perceive patterns, grids, alignments, sophisticated geometry, but might not fully grasp their purpose. In the same way we puzzle over the silent ruins of our ancestors, they would puzzle over ours. This thought is both strangely comforting and profoundly eerie. It places us firmly within the same continuum as those who came before, all striving to leave a lasting mark on a planet that in its own time quietly, patiently erases everything. Sometimes when scientists engage with these profound possibilities, they invoke the term Silurian hypothesis. This is a compelling thought experiment proposed by astrophysicists Adam Frank and Gavin Schmidt, who posed a fascinating question. If an industrial civilization had existed millions of years ago, perhaps during the age of dinosaurs, would we even be capable of detecting its traces today? Most likely the answer is no. Geological processes are relentless recyclers of the Earth's crust. In a few million years, erosion, tectonic shifts and chemical weathering would erase almost every physical trace. What might remain are subtle chemical signatures, anomalous spikes in sediment layers, unusual isotopic ratios, perhaps even a transient surge in atmospheric carbon hauntingly similar to our own present-day impact. So even if something intelligent and organised had existed before us, it would require more than conventional archaeology to find it. We would need to learn to read the very rocks themselves as profound historical records. This idea, while sounding far-fetched, highlights something profoundly important. Civilizations, no matter how advanced, are temporary, ephemeral against the vast patient scale of the planet. We are accustomed to perceiving ancient ruins as truly ancient, but even the oldest pyramids are a mere blink in geological time, a few thousand years. The Earth, however, measures its history in millions, and yet even within those immense timescales it is conceivable for hints to survive fragments of tool marks, unexplained alignments, sudden puzzling shifts in the fossil record, or mythic echoes that refuse to fade from the collective human consciousness. Consider, for instance, the ubiquitous global flood myths, narratives found on nearly every continent in almost every culture. The Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, the biblical story of Noah, the Hindu tale of Manu, the Greek legend of Deucalion, the myriad Native American stories of world renewal, all speak of a great deluge that wiped away a world before ours. Some scholars interpret this striking consistency as a deep cultural memory of real cataclysmic floods that marked the tumultuous end of the last ice age. Massive meltwater pulses released from collapsing ice sheets dramatically reshaped coastlines and submerged entire regions. Imagine witnessing the ocean rise week after relentless week, devouring fertile plains, cherished villages, and everything familiar. It would have felt unequivocally like the end of the world. Generations later, that visceral memory could easily transform into potent legend. A cautionary tale, a profound remembrance of a lost golden age. What captivates scientists today is precisely how consistently these stories align with known geological events. It is as if humanity has been trying across millennia to remind itself of a truth it once instinctively knew, that the world can change with terrifying suddenness, that entire civilizations can vanish without a trace, and that the clues to their existence might still lie somewhere just beyond the reach of our conventional understanding. Modern technology is now helping us to look again with unprecedented precision. Ground-penetrating radar, sophisticated satellite imaging, and oceanic lidar scanning are revealing buried structures we never knew existed. In the Amazon, researchers are uncovering traces of ancient road systems and intricate geometric earthworks, hidden beneath centuries of dense forest canopy. In the vast Sahara, buried rivers and settlements hint at a distant past when the desert was green, fertile, and teeming with life. Each new discovery reshapes our limited picture of what early humans were truly capable of. The more we find, the more we realize how fundamentally incomplete our understanding of the past truly is. The soil beneath us is not merely dirt, it is a profound library. Every layer holds a page from a different chapter of the planet's autobiography. To read it, we must cultivate patience, the kind of patient stillness the earth itself embodies. Stone does not hurry, sediment does not argue, it simply waits. And within that profound stillness beneath the silent strata might lie the indelible record of worlds we have long forgotten. So tonight, as we embark on this long, slow exploration into the possibility of a civilization that predates our accepted narrative, let us keep one idea close. The evidence might not manifest in the forms we expect. It may not be grand temples or familiar tools. It might be subtle patterns in magnetic fields, inexplicable anomalies in isotopic ratios, or ancient myths that align too precisely with geological truth to be mere coincidence. The clues could be everywhere, but they demand a particular kind of seeing. Not hurried, not absolutely certain, but quietly, deeply attentive, like listening for a whisper, carried through layers of unimaginable time. For the earth does not tell its stories loudly. It speaks through hints and echoes, through the silent shapes of mountains, the subtle tilt of old stones, and the uncanny way cultures separated by half a world built monuments that gaze upon the very same stars. Perhaps that is not coincidence. Perhaps that is memory, the planet's own profound way of keeping its past alive through us. And as we delve deeper into this enigma, we will follow those whispers, through stones, across seas, within myths and guided by science, to ask the simplest yet most difficult question of all. If there truly was a first civilization, where did it go? And what indelible legacy did it leave behind for us to find? For the vast majority of human history, we have firmly believed that civilization began when we learned to transcribe our thoughts, to write things down. The first cuneiform marks pressed into wet clay in Mesopotamia, the carved hieroglyphs along the verdant Nile, the enigmatic symbols etched into Indus seals. These were the definitive signs we thought of our becoming truly human, organised, creative, technological. Yet as we scrutinise the deep past with ever-increasing tools and insights, the picture begins to blur like an ancient fresco losing its sharp edges. It becomes increasingly difficult to discern precisely where prehistory ends and recorded history truly begins. Somewhere within that blurred horizon might lie the faint spectral outline of the vanished architects, the people who built and thought and dreamed long before the timeline we have so confidently drawn for ourselves. When we contemplate these ancient builders, we're not necessarily invoking aliens or mythic beings made real. We are speaking of humans or beings remarkably like us, who lived during the vast expanse of the last ice age, or perhaps even earlier. The profound challenge of the Great Eraser is the relentless power of ice and time itself. Imagine a city, a bustling metropolis constructed 12,000 years ago, long before the Great Pyramids, long before the earliest whispers of Sumer. After a few mere centuries, its roofs would have collapsed, its walls crumbled into dust. A few thousand years later, the patient creep of rivers and the relentless embrace of roots would reclaim it entirely. After 10,000 years, colossal glaciers would have ground it down to dust, or the inexorable rise of seas would have buried it under layers of impenetrable sediment. All that would remain would be stones where stones should not be patterns, too deliberate, too geometrically precise to be dismissed as mere chance. That is the nature of the evidence we are left with. Not blueprints or pristine artifacts, but profound puzzles carved into the very landscape of the Earth itself. There are places on Earth that stir this ancient question with particular intensity. The Great Sphinx of Giza, for instance, has captivated scholars for centuries, yet it continues to resist simple, definitive explanation. Some geologists have compellingly argued that the deep erosion marks along its massive body suggest the action of water, not just windblown sand, implying it once stood through long periods of heavy rain, conditions Egypt has not experienced since the end of the last ice age millennia ago. If this hypothesis holds true, it could mean the Sphinx is far older than the dynastic Egyptian civilization officially credited with its construction. Mainstream Egyptology remains cautiously conservative, but even the mere possibility opens the door to profoundly uncomfortable thoughts. If one of our most iconic, most studied monuments might be older than we conceived, how many others might be concealing similar epoch-shattering secrets? Travel thousands of kilometers east to the silent plains of Anatolia, and you find Göbekli Tepe, that quiet archaeological revolution. There in soft hills, once considered empty, massive T-shaped stone pillars, rise mysteriously from the soil arranged in circular enclosures that evoke the grandeur of an ancient observatory. Each pillar is carved with powerful images of animals, abstract symbols, and a precise geometry that speaks of sophisticated knowledge. Radiocarbon dating places its construction around 11,500 years ago, long before agriculture or cities were believed to exist. Whoever built it was not following any rulebook we recognise. They organised complex labour, transported multi-ton stones across distances, and created art that implies deep, symbolic thinking, perhaps even an understanding of celestial mechanics. What makes it even more enigmatic is that the site was deliberately carefully buried after centuries of use, as if its builders sought to hide their own masterpiece, leaving no clear trace of why. Göbekli Tepe does not stand alone anymore. Similar, though smaller sites are being discovered across the region, each pushing the timeline of human complexity further backward. The line between myth and verifiable archaeology grows thinner with every new excavation. Some researchers now compellingly suggest that the end of the Ice Age was not the dawn of human civilization, but rather its second morning, a period of rebuilding, a rediscovery rather than an initial beginning. When we look at ruins across the world, the patterns begin to repeat with uncanny regularity. The pyramids of Egypt, the stepped temples of Mesoamerica, the vast megaliths of South America, the enigmatic stone circles scattered throughout Europe, the giant silent statues of Easter Island, all separated by oceans and millennia, yet sharing striking architectural similarities, triangular structures, precise astronomical alignments, cardinal orientations. It might be a global coincidence, a shared human instinct for symmetry and the celestial dance. But it might also subtly suggest that knowledge, like a faint signal, travels farther and endures longer than we imagine. Consider the astonishing precision of some ancient construction. In Peru, at sites like Sacsayhuaman and Ollantaytambo, colossal polygonal stones fit together so tightly that not even a knife blade can slip between their surfaces. These surfaces are irregular, each stone uniquely shaped, yet they interlock perfectly without the aid of mortar. The engineering required to shape, transport, and precisely place these multi-ton blocks is still intensely debated by modern experts. Some believe it was achieved with simple tools and unimaginable patience. Others argue that the techniques employed were far more advanced than we currently assume for that era. Whatever the truth, it speaks to a level of mastery that did not appear suddenly. It implies a long tradition of skill passed down and refined, perhaps even inherited from builders whose names and stories are long forgotten to our current historical record. It is easy to forget that history as we perceive and record it is profoundly fragile. Libraries burn, languages die, oral traditions, once vibrant, fade into silence. If a culture does not record itself in a durable, widely accessible form, it can vanish almost completely within a few short generations. This is precisely why the idea of a vanished civilization is not as far-fetched as it initially sounds. We have witnessed entire empires rise and disappear within recorded history alone. The Indus Valley civilization, once home to tens of thousands of people, left behind perfectly planned cities and intricate drainage systems, but not a single readable text. To this day, we do not know what they called themselves. If something of that scale could vanish within a few thousand years, what about something far older, erased by the inexorable forces of ice and ocean, rather than by war and the slow creep of time? Archaeologists working along the continental shelves have begun to unearth tantalizing clues. Off the coast of India, near the Gulf of Kambat, advanced sonar scans have revealed structures that resemble ancient cities, now buried under layers of sediment. Divers have recovered artifacts from this area, which were later dated to approximately 9,000 years ago, making them older than any known urban site on land. There is, as always, vigorous debate among scholars about whether these formations are truly natural or man-made. But if they are confirmed as human-built, they would fundamentally rewrite the story of when humanity first began living together in complex societies. Similar submerged finds have emerged near Japan, the Bahamas, and throughout the Mediterranean. Each discovery challenges the neat, comfortable boundaries of history we have drawn around ourselves. What makes these underwater discoveries even more compelling is their striking alignment with ancient mythology. Nearly every ancient culture possesses a foundational story of a world before this one, a lost age destroyed by catastrophic fire flood or cataclysm. The Greeks called it Atlantis. The Hindus described it as the Satya Yuga, the golden age of truth and purity. The Maya spoke of previous creations wiped out by devastating floods or seismic upheavals. Aboriginal Australian stories vividly recall great floods that uncannily match the timing of post-glacial sea level rises. It is tempting to view these as independent, purely symbolic myths, but they may well be collective memories of real epical events, vivid recollections of when coastlines dramatically shifted, when the hungry sea swallowed the old world, forcing scattered survivors to begin anew inland. If those survivors, traumatized yet resilient, carried fragments of their advanced culture and knowledge, perhaps they inadvertently seeded what would become the known ancient civilizations of later millennia. The traces we find today might in fact be echoes of that vast forgotten migration, knowledge scattered like seeds, adapted and reshaped by each new generation. This could elegantly explain why pyramid-like structures, sophisticated astronomical calendars, and similar mythic symbols appear ubiquitously across the globe, even among peoples who, according to our current understanding, never had any direct contact. They might all be distant descendants of the same ancestral blueprint, diluted, distorted, and rewritten through the vast expanse of time, yet still recognizable. Yet even as we meticulously piece together these profound patterns, we must continually balance wonder with rigorous evidence. Science in its essence demands restraint. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. For now, we do not possess definitive, irrefutable artifacts of an unknown civilization demonstrably older than the ones we already confidently recognize. But that does not definitively mean it did not exist. It simply means the record remains incomplete, patiently waiting. As technology ceaselessly improves, as we scan ever deeper beneath dense forests and vast oceans, new pages of this colossal story may yet surface. What truly matters is the cultivating an openness to possibility, the quiet willingness to listen when the earth whispers something that does not fit neatly into our existing expectations. One of the more profoundly curious puzzles lies embedded in ancient maps. The Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral, depicts parts of the Antarctic coast long before its official discovery and astonishingly apparently without ice. Historians still fiercely debate its accuracy and mysterious origin. Some scholars argue it was based on far older charts, copied and recopied, over centuries perhaps tracing back to an age when vastly different coastlines existed. If true, that would imply that incredibly sophisticated geographical knowledge survived through forgotten channels, slipping quietly across ages and diverse cultures until it resurfaced in the hands of later cartographers. Knowledge, it seems, possesses a remarkable resilience, often surviving in scattered fragments. Symbols repeat geometry echoes, and stories endure long after languages die and empires crumble. The builders who carved massive stones, who aligned colossal temples to celestial solstices, who meticulously watched the stars and wove intricate myths around their movements. They may not have conceived of themselves as the first or the only. To them, perhaps, civilization was already ancient, a deep legacy. They could have been remembering someone before them, just as we remember them now. That is what makes this idea so endlessly fascinating. It is not fundamentally about proving a hidden empire or radically rewriting every history book. It is about understanding that our story, the narrative of humanity, might be far deeper, more layered and more profound than we currently realize. Civilization perhaps is more akin to a tide than a linear progression, rising, receding, rising again. Each time it leaves behind faint, half-erased footprints on the shore of time. And somewhere beneath the next shifting layer of sand there may still be faint, persistent traces of those who built before us. In the hushed quiet of an excavation site, archaeologists sometimes speak of feeling a profound presence, not in a mystical sense, but in the deep visceral awareness that their work connects them across vast gulfs of time. A pottery shard held in the hand is in essence a handshake with someone who lived thousands of years ago. Now imagine that handshake stretching even farther across 10,000, 20,000, or even 100,000 years. What would we find in their grip? Would it feel familiar? The same innate curiosity, the same burning desire to build, to record, to comprehend? Or would it feel alien, as if we were meeting not our direct ancestors, but our enigmatic predecessors? Perhaps the very reason we have not fully recognised their traces is that we are actively looking for reflections of ourselves in the past. For sprawling cities, for complex machines, for written languages, for advanced metallurgy. But what if their civilization, their understanding of progress manifested differently? What if their enduring legacy was not built in steel and monumental stone, but in knowledge in profound geometry, in the subtle, harmonious manipulation of natural materials? A civilization could be advanced in ways that do not mirror our own industrial trajectory. They might have cultivated an intimate, profound understanding of nature, rather than seeking to dominate and reshape it. If they learned to live with the planet rather than in opposition to it, their footprint might be exquisitely light, leaving behind minimal conventional traces. And that precisely could be why we struggle so profoundly to find them. In the end, this journey leads to a profound humility. We are accustomed to perceiving ourselves as the pinnacle, the inevitable culmination of all that came before. But perhaps we are merely one more version of a repeating pattern, the latest in a long, unbroken line of builders, each striving towards a deeper understanding. Somewhere in the vast ruins of time, under countless layers of soil and sediment, their fingerprints might still be there, pressed into enduring stone or subtly written into the silent language of the stars. As we continue this quiet search, it is vital to remember that history is not a closed book. It is an ongoing, vibrant conversation between the living and the long departed, between tangible evidence and boundless imagination. The vanished architects may not be gone at all. Their profound work might still subtly shape the very world we inhabit. In the intricate alignments of old temples, in the compelling myths we continue to tell, and in the restless innate urge that drives us to explore, to dig, to remember. If the earth truly does keep its memories, then perhaps every mountain range, every shifting shoreline, every buried ruin is part of a monumental message written in slow motion across epochs. A message we're only just beginning to decipher. And somewhere between the silent stones and the vast encompassing silence, between the poetic sway of myth and the precise certainty of measurement, we might still discern the faint haunting echo of those ancient builders calling across the ages, saying simply, "We were here and we remembered." It is a strange and profound thought that stone can speak. It does not use words, it does not move, it does not shout for attention. Yet somehow when one stands before an ancient monument, a colossal wall, a single weathered carving, there is a quiet, undeniable feeling that it is attempting to convey something. Not in sentences, but in profound patterns, the deliberate placement of blocks, the precise direction they face, the immense, unimaginable effort required to construct them. All of it coalesces into a form of message, one that defies the easy erosion of time. Stone endures longer than individual memory, and that very endurance transforms it into a profound storyteller. Every culture that has ever built in stone has done so consciously, or not to speak across generations, to whisper across millennia, "We were here, and this mattered." When we look around the world, that whisper swells into a magnificent chorus. Pyramids in Egypt, stepped ziggurats in Mexico, megalithic terraces in Peru, ancient stone circles in Britain, enigmatic dolmens in Korea, and vast temple complexes in Cambodia. Oceans and entire eras separate them, yet they echo each other with uncanny resonance. Each structure rises towards the heavens, aligns itself with distant stars, marks solstices or equinoxes, and adheres to geometries that seem too precise for mere coincidence. This global repetition of themes compels one to wonder, did humans in widely disparate corners of the earth independently arrive at the exact same profound ideas? Or were they perhaps remembering something far older, a shared inherited understanding? it is easy to forget that myth and monument often belong to the same intricate tapestry of story. In nearly every ancient culture, tales of gods and heroes are intimately tied to places built of enduring stone. In Mesoamerica, legends tell of the gods descending precisely where the pyramids now stand. In Egypt, temples were said to be earthly replicas of heavenly structures built according to divine blueprints. In the Pacific, the monolithic moai of Easter Island were believed to house ancestral spirits silently watching over their people. Even in prehistoric Europe, where written language had not yet arrived, stone circles seem to have marked both ritual and cosmic order, sacred calendars set immutably in rock. Each culture encoded its profound understanding of the world not merely in ephemeral words, but in enduring architecture. The stones became pages in a colossal book that the relentless weather could not erase. The more we learn about these ancient structures, the more complex, the more sophisticated they reveal themselves to be. Many are aligned with extraordinary precision to specific astronomical events. The sides of the Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, face almost perfectly north, south, east and west, an alignment that would present a formidable challenge even with modern instruments. At Stonehenge, the rising sun at the summer solstice shines directly into the very heart of the circular arrangement, while at Machu Picchu, the Intihuatana stone marks the equinox with almost uncanny celestial accuracy. Across the entire world, ancient builders meticulously track the movements of the sun, the moon and the stars, embedding their profound cycles directly into enduring stone. It is as if they intended the heavens themselves to read their work to acknowledge its deep resonance. This raises a crucial question. Why were they so utterly obsessed with the sky? For early societies, the heavens served as both a practical calendar and an indispensable compass. The predictable movements of celestial bodies told them when to plant, when to harvest, when to navigate vast distances. But perhaps there was a deeper impulse. Perhaps the builders perceived the sky not as distant and detached, but as a profound mirror, a reflection of earthly order. To align a temple with the stars was to actively participate in the grand order of the cosmos, to forge an architectural link between heaven and earth. And if those precise patterns of alignment appear globally, it could subtly imply that the same cosmic blueprint was remembered and repeated long after the original anonymous builders were gone. Some researchers compellingly suggest that myth itself might function as a sophisticated form of code, an ingenious way to preserve astronomical or geological knowledge through the enduring power of storytelling. The epic of a god chasing the sun across the sky could be a distant memory of seasonal change. A powerful flood myth could precisely record the tumultuous end of an ice age. The tragic destruction of a golden city might vividly describe the literal fall of a real place swallowed by encroaching rising seas. When one hears these stories recounted side by side across continents, their striking similarities begin to sound less like mere coincidence and more like a shared collective memory of real-world altering events distilled and told in the universal language of symbol and deep emotion. For instance, the constellation Orion appears prominently in myths from Egypt, Greece, Africa, Australia, and the Americas. In Egypt, it was intimately associated with Osiris, the god of rebirth and the afterlife. In the Americas, it was sometimes venerated as a powerful hunter or a revered cosmic ancestor. The precise arrangement of the three brilliant stars in Orion's belt uncannily mirrors the layout of the three great pyramids at Giza, and similar triadic alignments appear in other ancient sites as well. Whether by deliberate design or by an intuitive universal understanding, humanity seems to have been mapping the sky onto the earth for countless millennia. The same fundamental pattern repeated in different lands could signify that a single profound idea, that the heavens and the ground were intrinsically connected, was passed down from an earlier foundational source older than any currently known culture. Stone remembers better than we do. It retains its fundamental shape long after its original purpose is forgotten, its meaning reinterpreted. That is why archaeologists often find themselves in the role of decoders rather than mere readers. A temple originally built for the worship of the sun may millennia later be repurposed for venerating an entirely different deity. A site once sacred to one culture might be inherited by another, its meaning subtly changed, but its enduring structure preserved. Over time, layers of human belief and interpretation accumulate like sediment. What begins as clear memory becomes potent myth, and what begins as myth ultimately transforms into profound mystery. When we gaze upon a ruin today, we are not merely seeing what it was, but the accumulated echoes of everything it has been since then. One of the most intriguing aspects of this global pattern is how consistently ancient architecture and mythology often refer to cycles, the inexorable rise and fall of worlds, the distinct ages of humanity, the endless rhythmic turning of time. In Hindu cosmology, history unfolds in repeating yugas, golden, silver, bronze, and dark ages. In Greek myth, humanity passes through remarkably similar stages, each one declining progressively from the last. The Maya meticulously counted vast cycles they termed baktuns, each marking a new creation, or epoch. These systems may have arisen independently, but they share a common profound logic that civilization is not permanent, that the world tirelessly renews itself in great sweeping waves. If a truly ancient civilization once existed, its memory might have been preserved through these very cycles not as linear history, but as mythic eternal recurrence. Even today we can observe how clear knowledge subtly transmutes into legend when written records are lost. Imagine what transpires over thousands of years. A city utterly destroyed by a flood becomes generations later a potent story about gods punishing humankind. A powerful, revered ruler becomes a demigod. A natural disaster becomes a profound moral parable. Over enough generations, the literal details fade and the symbolic meaning takes over. But the seed of the original memory, like a fossil, often remains. When we listen to ancient myths about benevolent gods teaching humans to farm, to build, to meticulously measure the heavens, perhaps we are hearing distorted poetic echoes of real teachers, survivors of a vanished age, painstakingly passing their crucial skills to scattered people, just starting over rebuilding their world from scratch. There is another subtle clue hidden in the very essence of language itself. Words for fundamental concepts like stone, sky, God, and light often share common deep roots across widely distant cultures. Some linguists theorize that this might hint at profound connections between ancient peoples, perhaps stemming from vast migrations that spread both genes and stories long before the advent of the earliest written languages. If those words carried not just bare meaning, but deeply embedded myth, if they named the same stars, evoked the same primal fears, or conveyed the same reverence for builders long gone, then our oldest stories could be the profound residue of a global memory, faint yet remarkably persistent. When archaeologists map these intricate patterns, they often uncover something else equally surprising: profound geometry. Circles, triangles, spirals, the elusive golden ratio. Ancient builders seem to have possessed an innate understanding of harmony and numbers. In Egypt, the ratio between the Great Pyramid's height and its base closely approximates pi. In South America, intricate terraces follow Fibonacci sequences that uncannily mirror natural growth patterns. Even prehistoric carvings, spirals, grids, interlocking shapes, repeat mathematical motifs found in art from entirely different continents. Whether by staggering coincidence or by a shared ancient continuity, it seems that humans have always been drawn to the same fundamental patterns that shape the natural world. Perhaps they were not inventing geometry at all. Perhaps they were remembering it at deep resonance within the collective unconscious. But of course, not all mysteries demand the existence of lost hyper-advanced civilizations. Human creativity and ingenuity are vast and boundless, and similar solutions to universal challenges can and often do arise independently. Still, a pervasive sense of connection that profound echoes across time and space remains difficult to ignore. There is something deeply inherently human about the act of stacking stones towards the sky and designating it as sacred. The act itself might be instinctive, the same primal impulse that compels us to map constellations in the vast night sky or to tell elaborate stories about our origins. Perhaps the echo we discern is not of another species or an ancient forgotten empire, but of our own enduring human pattern to build profound meaning from stone and story alike. In some profound ways, myth and architecture are two facets of the same ancient art form. Both are powerful attempts to hold on to something fleeting to defy the relentless erosion of time. A myth holds on to ideas, a monument holds on to form. When they work in concert, they create memory that outlasts both individuals and entire cultures. This is precisely why the most enduring ruins are those inextricably woven into story. The pyramids are not merely monumental stone, they are potent symbols of ascension and eternity. The ziggurats of Mesopotamia are cosmic stairways between heaven and earth. The temples of Angkor are not just buildings, they are intricate cosmic maps carved into the verdant, encroaching jungle. Wherever you look, stone and story reinforce each other, each keeping the other vibrantly alive. Some researchers have noticed that ancient myths often describe the construction of truly great works by beings not entirely human. Giants, gods, star people, or benevolent teachers who emerge from the sea. These enigmatic figures could in a profound sense represent memory personified. When a culture gradually forgets who originally built a colossal structure, it often fills that cognitive gap with mythic divine figures. The original architects become deified precisely because their true origins are lost to human recollection. Over time, the vibrant stories separate from the tangible evidence, and the majestic ruins become legends rather than verifiable historical records. To us, this might appear as mere superstition, but it is also a powerful form of preservation. The myth keeps the monument meaningful, keeps it in the cultural consciousness even when the hard facts are gone. Imagine a civilization thousands of years from now discovering the weathered ruins of our own cities. The inscriptions on our buildings will have faded, our myriad languages forgotten. Perhaps they will find the skeletal remains of our skyscrapers and erroneously assume they were grand temples. Perhaps our intricate satellite networks will be interpreted as relics of sky gods. They will invent stories, powerful narratives to explain what they can no longer prove. The same way we often do. Myths are not necessarily lies. They are memory translated into the potent language of metaphor. And the very fact that we still tell stories about lost worlds, vanished architects, and ancient wise teachers might signify that those profound memories still reside within us, whether or not we can definitively name their source. If we follow those echoes far enough, they lead us to another profound question. Not just what was built, but why? Building in colossal stone is an undertaking of immense difficulty. It demands generations of sustained effort, enormous resources, and a visionary scope that extends far beyond a single lifetime. So why did so many ancient peoples across the globe commit to it? Why not simpler, more ephemeral materials? Perhaps because they were not only building for themselves in their brief span of existence, they were building for the deep future, striving to pass on something they could not express in mere words. A monument in this sense is a powerful form of time travel. It is a message encoded in the only language that transcends translation endurance. That enduring presence is precisely what connects us to them. When you walk among ancient ruins, you're not merely traversing space. You're walking through countless layers of thought made solid. Every meticulously placed block, every intricate carving, every astronomical alignment is part of a sentence in a vast silent language we are still painstakingly learning to read. The Earth has carried these profound stories for thousands of years, holding them in its geological embrace. And even now they have not gone silent. They are still telling us that humanity has always been curious, always reaching upward, always remembering. Somewhere in those echoes between the carved myths and the unspoken mathematics, between the silent ruins and the ancient rituals, there might be faint, persistent traces of the first builders. Not definitive proof, not absolute certainty, but a profound, undeniable presence. They could be the fundamental reason we continue to build, continue to narrate, continue to search. Because deep down, maybe we are not just learning who we are, we're trying in a profound sense to remember who we were. And as we move forward, following the enduring stones and the resonant stories they carry, the trail begins to curve towards something even quieter, more elemental. The profound memory of the Earth itself, the possibility that the planet has been patiently recording everything, every breath, every tremor in the silent strata beneath our feet. If stone can speak, perhaps the soil can remember. And if that is true, then the next crucial step in our profound search isn't to look upward at the distant stars or outward at the majestic ruins, but inward into the ground itself, where the earth diligently keeps its oldest, most elemental secrets still waiting to be heard. If one could, for a single breathtaking hour, drain the vast oceans and gaze upon the world beneath the map of human history would be irrevocably transformed. Beneath those dark, silent waters lie immense plains, intricate river valleys and towering mountain ranges that were once dry, vibrant land. Places where tens of thousands of years ago people might have walked, hunted, built, and lived before the hungry sea quietly, inexorably swallowed their world. It is almost impossible for us to fully imagine today, but the Earth's coastline is not a fixed, immutable line. It has shifted constantly with the grand, slow rhythm of ice and warmth, advancing and retreating like a colossal breath across deep time. And somewhere within that vast ebb and flow, entire chapters of our human story may have been utterly lost, submerged beyond easy retrieval. Most of our known ancient civilizations, we observe, blossomed along fertile coasts and mighty rivers. Egypt thrived along the Nile, Mesopotamia nurtured its life between the Tigris and Euphrates. The Indus Valley hugged its powerful river basin, and early China flourished along the Yellow River. Water, in its boundless generosity, provided life sustenance and pathways for transport. It also crucially gave memory. Myths of devastating floods, powerful sea gods, and hauntingly lost lands. So when global sea levels rose dramatically after the last ice age around 12,000 years ago, the ocean claimed more than just fertile land. It took with it untold stories, countless settlements, and quite possibly the earliest foundational seeds of what we would now recognise as civilization. At the peak of the last glacial period, the world was a vastly different place. Colder, drier, held in the grip of ice. Enormous ice sheets, miles thick, covered much of North America, Europe and Asia, locking away such immense quantities of water that global sea levels were roughly 120 metres lower than they are today. This meant that the continent stretched far outward. Britain, for instance, was connected to mainland Europe by a vast, fertile region, now known as Doggerland. Indonesia, Malaysia and Australia formed a single sprawling landmass called Sunda. The area between Siberia and Alaska, now the Bering Strait, was a wide, frozen bridge. Coastlines extended for hundreds of kilometres beyond where the waves gently reach now, forming verdant valleys and gentle plains where early humans could thrive and develop. When the colossal ice began its inexorable melt, the seas rose. Slowly at first, then in dramatic, terrifying pulses. Entire regions disappeared within a few human generations. Imagine living on a coastal plain, witnessing the tide creep higher, year after relentless year, slowly realizing that the horizon itself was drawing inexorably closer. To the people of that time, it would have felt like the true end of the world. For many, it likely was. Those who fled inland carried with them not just physical belongings, but indelible memories and profound stories. Stories of great floods, of sinking lands, of a vibrant world utterly swallowed by water. Thousands of years later, those raw, traumatic stories would coalesce into powerful, enduring myths. Today, archaeologists and oceanographers are for the first time beginning to explore those drowned landscapes. The challenge is immense. The ocean is vast, its depth cold and dark, its currents powerful and ceaseless. Yet as technology ceaselessly improves, with advanced sonar mapping, sophisticated underwater drones and granular satellite data, the faint ghostly contours of ancient submerged worlds are slowly, painstakingly reappearing. One of the most intensely discussed sites lies off the coast of Japan near the island of Yonaguni. There, approximately 25 metres below the surface, lies a massive stone formation that appears uncannily architectural. Terraces, steps and platforms arranged with geometric precision. Some surfaces are flat and sharply edged, while others strikingly resemble carved stairways. The structure rises like a sunken ziggurat from the seabed. Some geologists argue it is a purely natural formation sculpted by patient currents and tectonic forces. Others believe it exhibits unmistakable signs of deliberate modification, suggesting that human hands once shaped it before rising seas claimed it. No definitive consensus yet exists, but the site continues to draw diverse scientists and dreamers alike. Even if nature ultimately built it, it serves as a profound reminder of how easily the boundary between the natural and the human-made can blur, particularly underwater. Farther west off the coast of India, sonar scans in the Gulf of Kambat have revealed submerged patterns that strikingly resemble urban layouts, grid-like formations stretching for several kilometres. Artifacts recovered from the area have been dated to around 9,000 years ago, though their precise context and interpretation remain debated. If definitively confirmed as man-made, these structures would make them older than any known city on land. The idea that an organised, thriving settlement once existed there before being engulfed by post-glacial flooding is certainly not implausible. The Indus Valley civilization, which emerged millennia later, may well have inherited stories or even faint cultural remnants from such coastal ancestors. In the Mediterranean, near the picturesque coast of Malta, lie the remains of stone walls and terraces beneath clear azure waters. Some appear intrinsically connected to ancient harbour structures, on land subtly suggesting that what is now tranquil seabed was once a bustling, vibrant shoreline. Around the world, similar tantalising findings continue to emerge: submerged ruins near Greece, Cyprus, Egypt, the Bahamas, even off the rugged coasts of Scotland and Denmark. Each discovery is individually small, fragmentary, and often vigorously contested, but collectively they paint a larger compelling possibility that much of humanity's earliest foundational development occurred near the sea, and that the relentless rise of ancient oceans erased those crucial beginnings, almost completely rendering them largely invisible until now. When we meticulously study the ocean floor, we uncover more than just potential ruins. We find ancient riverbeds winding across what is now open sea, vast ancient deltas frozen in time within sediment, and the indelible imprints of shorelines that have long since vanished from our maps. Off the eastern coast of the United States, advanced sonar mapping has revealed colossal river systems beneath the Atlantic shelf, clearly showing where land once stretched for hundreds of kilometres beyond the modern coast. In the North Sea, scientists have painstakingly reconstructed Doggerland, a low-lying fertile region that once physically connected Britain to mainland Europe. It was a vibrant home to forests, lakes, and extensive grasslands teeming with both animals and early humans. Around 8,000 years ago, a massive catastrophic flood, possibly triggered by a dramatic collapse of glacial ice in North America, sent colossal waves surging across the North Atlantic. Within a few short days, much of Doggerland was gone forever. Today, fishermen still occasionally dredge up ancient tools, fossilized bones, and artifacts from those very waters, each discovery subtly challenging the comfortable simplicity of our established timelines. For a long time, we steadfastly assumed that civilization began only after the Ice Age ended, when the climate stabilized and agriculture gradually spread. But what if the process began far earlier, and the relentless oceans simply erased the definitive evidence? If early complex communities truly developed along the vast coastlines of that older world, then the irrefutable proof of their existence lies silently underwater, largely inaccessible for most of human history, only now slowly coming into view through the lens of modern technology. The ocean in its vast silent wisdom conceals more than just physical structures. It hides profound chemical records, meticulously layered sediments, and subtle isotopic clues that tell us precisely what the planet was like when those lost lands were dry and teeming with life. Deep sea cores extracted from the seabed reveal sudden dramatic shifts in temperature, salt levels, and carbon concentrations, the indelible signatures of rapid global change. Some scientists link these anomalies to the catastrophic flooding events that punctuated the tumultuous end of the Ice Age known as meltwater pulses. Each pulse potentially could have raised sea levels by several meters in just a few centuries, enough to submerge entire coastal civilizations, erasing them from the visible record. It is worth remembering how astonishingly little of the seafloor we have actually mapped in detail. Roughly 80% of it remains largely unexplored, a vast dark archive waiting patiently to be read. As scanning technology relentlessly advances, we are slowly beginning to fill in that immense archive. The patterns emerging are both strikingly familiar and profoundly unsettling. Straight lines, ancient terraces, circular depressions, and symmetrical ridges appear in places where nature alone struggles to explain them. Sometimes, upon closer inspection, they prove to be geological formations. Sometimes, however, they stubbornly resist easy categorization, hinting at something more deliberate. Even if every one of those underwater formations ultimately proves to be natural, they still narrate an important, profound story that the Earth is far older and far more changeable than our written history can possibly capture. But if even one of them turns out to be a true undeniable remnant of human hands, the implications are enormous, shattering our current paradigms. It would mean that civilization, not just scattered tribes or early rudimentary farmers, but organised societies complete with architecture, art, and an understanding of astronomy, existed long before our accepted historical record begins. There is another layer to this profound puzzle, one that does not immediately involve grand buildings at all. Beneath the seafloor, trapped in layers of silt and sand, are the subtle chemical traces of ancient life. Scientists meticulously studying these sediments have found microscopic evidence of sudden dramatic shifts in vegetation and climate around the time sea levels rose. Some researchers even speculate that pollutants or unusual carbon spikes might one day serve as the faint indelible fingerprints of earlier industrial activity, should any such activity have existed before us. That is precisely the underlying idea behind the Silurian hypothesis, that if a technological civilization had arisen millions of years ago, its only surviving evidence would be subtle chemical anomalies, profound whispers in the rocks. So far, we have not found anything conclusive, but the search itself instills profound humility. The deeper we dig, the more we realize how effortlessly the Earth can forget how swiftly it reclaims its own. Still, the sea possesses a remarkable ability to preserve what the land through erosion and decay erases. Shipwrecks survive for centuries in its cold, dark embrace. Entire ancient harbours have been found frozen in silt, their wooden piers astonishingly intact. Pottery and stone tools endure far longer underwater than in the open air. In places like Pavlopetri off the coast of Greece, we have unearthed submerged streets, buildings and courtyards dating back 5,000 years. It is one of the oldest known underwater cities, compelling proof that human settlements can vanish beneath the waves yet remain astonishingly well preserved. If such sites exist from our known history, it is logical to consider that others might lie deeper still, remnants of forgotten ages. Myths in their enduring power remember what conventional history forgets. Cultures across the world speak of lands utterly lost to the sea: Atlantis, Lyonesse, High Brasil, Kumari, Cantre, Gwaelod, Lemuria. The names differ, but the underlying pattern is hauntingly the same: a great civilization, prosperous and wise, destroyed by catastrophic flood. Modern science now often interprets these as symbolic tales, allegories for real geological events. Yet the sheer persistence and ubiquity of the theme are striking. People across continents remembered water taking everything. They remembered islands, sinking coastlines, vanishing their known world, shrinking as the ocean grew. Perhaps the myth survived with such tenacity precisely because it described something everyone once viscerally experienced: a trauma so vast, so profound, that it became universal, woven into the very fabric of human memory. Some of the most haunting evidence is not physical at all, but linguistic. The word for sea, or ocean, in many ancient languages traces back to primal roots meaning great mother, or devourer. The sea in its dualistic power gave life, but it also inexorably took it away. It was both cradle and grave, creator and destroyer. For early humans, the sea's immense power must have felt divine, its reach infinite. When it advanced inland, swallowing the cherished places, they knew it must have seemed as though the very gods themselves were deliberately moving the horizon, reshaping their world. Generations later, that primal fear would transmute into profound story, and the story into enduring myth. What makes the profound puzzle beneath the waves so utterly captivating is that it intricately connects two vast fundamental mysteries, the arc of human history and the ceaseless dramatic saga of planetary change. We are learning with increasing clarity that civilization does not exist apart from the Earth's immense powerful rhythms. It rises and falls, flourishes and recedes in concert with them. If entire landscapes can vanish beneath the sea in a mere geological instant, then it is no wonder that our conventional record of the past is so fundamentally incomplete. The ocean is both archive and eraser, meticulously keeping what it chooses and silently hiding the rest in its vast depths. Even now, researchers painstakingly mapping the continental shelves speak of how strange, how haunting it feels to discern the ghostly outline of an ancient river valley, or the submerged silhouette of a mountain that was once a vibrant island. It is as though the planet itself still remembers its earlier self, its previous configurations. Each new discovery brings us a little closer to understanding not just where we as a species came from, but how profoundly fragile our presence, our constructs truly are. Cities, national borders, meticulously drawn maps, they all depend on the comforting illusion of permanence. But the ocean in its timeless wisdom reminds us that nothing stays fixed for long. If a first civilization did indeed exist, the sea would be its profound tomb and its silent guardian. Its majestic ruins would be buried under meters of dense sediment, its artifacts scattered, its metals corroded into dust, its memory reduced to a faint, persistent rumour. We might never find it in its entirety, only subtle hints, an enigmatic alignment of stones, an unnatural terrace, a myth that aligns uncannily with a geological event. And perhaps that is enough. Because even fragments can irrevocably change how we perceive ourselves, how we understand our place in the grand unfolding story of life on Earth. The ocean has always been both the poignant beginning and the inevitable end of countless stories. Life itself emerged from its primeval waters. Trade and human travel first commenced upon its vast shifting surface. And one day, if the tides rise again as they once did in deep antiquity, it may reclaim much of what we in our brief span have so diligently built. That thought is not intended to be grim or fatalistic. It is a profound reminder of scale of our place within the grand tapestry of existence. We are part of a cycle far older than any individual civilization, older than any enduring myth. When the waves move, they are rewriting the world in the same slow, ceaseless rhythm they always have. And perhaps, somewhere beneath those waves, the remnants of an earlier chapter still rest silent, intact, patiently waiting for us to learn how to listen through water, how to decode its liquid whispers. If the Earth truly does keep its memories, then the ocean is where it keeps its oldest, most profound secrets. We have only just begun to read the first few pages. As we continue to explore, following the submerged coastlines and meticulously tracing the ghostly outlines of forgotten worlds, the next profound question quietly rises from the depths. If patterns truly keep repeating across vast expanses of time, and across the entire planet, maybe the clues left behind by that first civilization are not random at all. Maybe they form an intricate design, a deliberate language written into the very geometry of Earth itself. And that is precisely where the next slow, contemplative step of this journey leads into the patterns that by all conventional accounts should not exist yet profoundly do. As if the planet itself remembers the hands that shaped them long before us. Everywhere one looks on this vibrant planet, patterns enigmatic and profound seem to appear where they shouldn't. Circles, intricate lines, precise alignments, and subtle ratios scattered across continents, carved deeply into enduring stone, traced meticulously into the soil, drawn with a precision that seems utterly out of place for their supposed age. When scientists painstakingly map these intriguing features, they often find themselves pausing, compelled to wonder whether coincidence can truly stretch so far, encompass so much. How do so many of the world's oldest monuments align with such startling accuracy to the stars, to the solstices, and sometimes even with each other separated by vast oceans and tens of thousands of years? Perhaps it is merely human nature to seek and find order in perceived chaos. Or perhaps buried deep within those profound alignments there is something more deliberate, more intentional, enduring remnants of a sophisticated knowledge that utterly predates our written memory. Patterns in their essence are the language of intelligence. We discern them in everything we construct and in everything we meticulously study. From the intricate geometry of a modern city to the majestic orbit of a distant planet, patterns are what render the universe comprehensible, understandable. But sometimes the patterns we uncover in ancient work seem to subtly suggest a profound grasp of mathematics, astronomy and geography that, according to our current historical paradigm, should not have been possible for cultures labelled as primitive. It is one thing to assert that early peoples noticed the sun rising in the same spot each solstice. It is an entirely different matter to realise they meticulously built massive structures that precisely encode those positions with astonishing engineering accuracy. When a sufficient number of these precise alignments appear, the question subtly shifts. It is no longer whether they noticed the pattern, but where and how they learned it. Consider the pyramids of Egypt. Their bases align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, north, south, east and west, with an astonishing error margin of less than a fraction of a degree. To achieve such unparalleled precision, the builders would have required the ability to measure the Earth's rotation with an accuracy that seems impossible using tools far simpler than our modern instruments. The same profound geometric care appears in other ancient sites. The pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico share a remarkably similar layout aligned with celestial events and adhering to proportions that match those of Giza with an eerie closeness. The Great Pyramid there, the Pyramid of the Sun, sits at a latitude that mirrors Giza's in a specific mathematical relationship to the equator. The probability that two cultures separated by a vast ocean and thousands of years would arrive at nearly identical measurements purely by accidental chance feels infinitesimally small. Even the monumental scale of these structures fits a curious pattern. The ratio between the height of the Great Pyramid and the circumference of its base strikingly mirrors the ratio of the Earth's radius to its circumference, an approximation of pi encoded quite literally in enduring stone. We could dismiss this as mere coincidence, and perhaps scientifically it is, but it is a coincidence that recurs persistently in different forms, the golden ratio subtly present in Greek temples, harmonic spacing in megalithic circles, consistent angular relationships in South American terraces. Ancient builders may not have utilised the same equations we employ today, but they seem to have possessed an intuitive, profound understanding of the same underlying mathematical relationships that govern the cosmos. Across the world, from the dense jungles of Cambodia to the soaring Andes of Peru, ancient architecture displays alignments not only to the sun, but also to stars that have subtly shifted out of view due to the Earth's slow, grand motion since those structures were built. Precession, the gradual majestic wobble of the Earth's axis, inexorably changes the apparent position of stars over millennia. To align a monument perfectly to a star's specific position at a given ancient epoch means the builders either understood this slow cosmic motion, or at the very least observed the night sky meticulously for an astronomically long period to discern it. In Egypt, the intricate shafts of the Great Pyramid once pointed precisely toward Orion's belt, and the pole star of that distant era, not the one we observe today. At Angkor Wat, the sweeping temple layout mysteriously mirrors the constellation Draco. In Mexico, the Temple of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza casts a serpent-like shadow down its staircase at the equinox, perfectly matching the ancient myth of the feathered serpent descending from the heavens. These precise alignments suggest a profound worldview in which Earth and sky were not separate, disparate entities. They were intricate, interconnected parts of one grand celestial machine, and architecture served as the sacred bridge between them. Some patterns are geographical rather than solely celestial. When researchers meticulously draw lines connecting ancient sites, pyramids, temples, megalithic structures, they sometimes discover that many of them fall along great circles, the shortest possible paths around the globe. This so-called Great Circle alignment includes Giza Easter Island, Machu Picchu, Mohenjo-Daro, and Angkor Wat. It could indeed be coincidence. With enough points, any pattern can ostensibly emerge, but it could also subtly hint at an understanding of global geometry far older than we conventionally believe humans possessed. How could ancient builders have known the curvature of the Earth without modern tools? Perhaps by observing the heavens with astonishing care, or perhaps by inheriting knowledge passed down from an earlier culture that had already mapped the world in some sophisticated manner. Patterns also manifest vividly in mythic structure, the way stories profoundly mirror each other across diverse cultures. The ubiquitous flood myths, tales of lost cities, sky gods, descending serpents guarding sacred knowledge, heroes reborn after cataclysmic destruction. These recurring motifs might not be coincidence either. Some anthropologists argue that they represent a shared fundamental symbolic language rooted in universal human psychology. Others suggest they might encode fragments of deep history, real events mythologized and transformed over vast expanses of time. If the same stories arise independently in distant cultures, it could mean the same profound experiences happened everywhere, or it could signify that they were all drawing from an older common source, a foundational memory. The inherent challenge is that human recorded history is relatively short, but geological time is unimaginably long. The planet in its ceaseless dynamism regularly resets itself. Mountains rise and erode. Rivers shift their courses dramatically. Deserts form and disappear. Forests expand and recede. If a civilization existed before the last ice age, its cities would now lie hundreds of meters below rock or sea. We would perceive only faint residues, alignments, anomalies, persistent patterns that stubbornly refuse to fit the conventional narrative. In that profound sense, what we label as unexplained architecture might be precisely what remains when everything else is gone. The enduring design outlives its anonymous designer. One of the most intriguing ways scientists approach these questions is by statistically studying orientation patterns. When researchers meticulously catalogue hundreds of megalithic sites and analyse their precise directions, they consistently find that many align to solar or lunar events far more often than pure random chance would allow. That strongly suggests intention, not accident. Even if no global network existed, there was at least a shared, profound obsession with marking time through enduring structure. These ancient observatories were in essence calendars carved into the earth, ingenious ways of predicting the turning of seasons, the inevitable flooding of rivers, the arrival of harvest. But perhaps they were also something deeper, a way of remembering a physical, tangible link between fleeting human life and the eternal cosmos, between the profound past and the timeless present. When one stands within such a monument, it is difficult not to feel that profound connection. The very air shifts differently. Sounds echo in deliberate, calculated ways. Many of these structures were meticulously built with astonishing acoustic precision. Stone chambers at Newgrange in Ireland amplify sound at certain frequencies. Temples in South America resonate profoundly when one claps or chants within them. These effects are not random quirks of ancient construction. They reflect a deep, sophisticated understanding of resonance, the same physical principles we meticulously apply in modern architecture and acoustics today. Sound, like geometry, was another profound pattern ancient builders mastered long before the advent of recorded science. Sometimes the patterns extend beyond architecture. Geologists and biologists have observed that certain ancient sites sit atop areas of unusual electromagnetic activity or critical geological fault lines. Whether by pure coincidence or by an uncanny intuitive understanding, ancient builders often chose locations where the Earth's natural energies concentrate. They might have discerned the subtle effects, static heat magnetism, and intrinsically associated them with sacredness. Or perhaps they simply followed a profound instinctive pattern they didn't consciously understand but felt was right. Either way, the same kinds of sites reappear across the globe as if guided by the same quiet cosmic compass. Patterns are profoundly seductive. They draw us in because they promise meaning and hidden logic. But they also challenge us because once we perceive them, we cannot easily unsee them. The inherent risk is in reading too much into mere coincidence. The profound reward is in realizing that sometimes coincidence is simply evidence we haven't yet adequately explained. Science advances by rigorously questioning patterns, by meticulously testing whether they are real or merely products of imagination. And the persistent patterns found in ancient architecture and myth continue to resist simple conventional explanations. If there truly was a first civilization, one that meticulously mapped the stars, precisely measured the planet, and diligently taught its children through the enduring language of stone rather than ephemeral script, its profound signature would look exactly like what we observe today. Faint haunting echoes in geometry, recurring mathematical ratios, alignments that seem impossibly precise, the enduring shapes of memory disguised as deliberate design. We may never unearth a single definitive artifact that irrefutably proves its existence, but the patterns themselves might be its indelible fingerprint, its quiet, profound declaration. It is humbling to realize that even now, armed with satellites and supercomputers, we are still following the same innate instincts as our most distant ancestors. Building, measuring, aligning, recording. We think in grids, map in degrees, orient our lives around the majestic sun and the turning calendar. Civilization, it seems, always inevitably returns to patterns. Perhaps that is the true enduring legacy of whoever came first. The profound idea that knowledge once discovered can never truly be lost. It only changes form, waiting patiently to be rediscovered, to be reawakened. As we continue this quiet journey through Earth's hidden past, the patterns gently point us toward an even subtler record, one not inscribed in architecture but in the Earth itself. The very soil, the ancient rocks, the pristine ice, and the deep sediment hold a memory far longer than any monument we could ever construct. If a first civilization existed, subtle traces of it might still linger there, encoded in the very chemistry of the planet. The next profound step of our search takes us deeper into that record, into the silent memory of the Earth itself, where the story might still be written in countless layers of stone, waiting patiently beneath our feet, waiting to be read. When we speak of memory, we typically conjure something profoundly personal. The intricate workings of the brain, the elusive mind, a specific recollection belonging to an individual. But the Earth too possesses a memory. It does not recall in vivid images or spoken words, but in layers, in textures, in subtle chemistry. Every tempest, every volcanic eruption, every life that has ever breathed leaves an indelible trace. Over billions of years, those traces have been pressed into solid rock, buried deep in silent mud, dissolved into vast oceans, frozen into eternal ice. Together they form the planet's collective memory, an unbroken colossal record of ceaseless change, written in the elemental language of chemistry and time itself. If we can learn how to truly read it, we might discover that the Earth has been meticulously recording everything, including us, and profoundly including those who may have come before. When geologists painstakingly cut into a cliff face or drill into the silent seabed, they are in a very real sense turning pages in that immense planetary memory. Each layer of sediment marks a season a year, a millennia, or or even a sudden catastrophe. Dust blown from ancient deserts, ash from long extinct volcanoes, pollen from forests that vanished epochs ago. All of it settles, compresses, and patiently waits. In the ice sheets of Greenland and Antarctica, ice cores stretch back hundreds of thousands of years. They act as natural time capsules, trapping microscopic bubbles of ancient air, tiny fossilized fragments of atmosphere. Scientists can read them like profound diaries, discerning when the planet warmed, when it cooled, when great fires burned, when oceans rose, and sometimes hidden deep within those frozen layers, they discover anomalies. Sudden spikes of carbon, subtle traces of rare metals, enigmatic signals that hint at something unusual, something non-natural happening on Earth. Usually those anomalies eventually find natural explanations: a meteor impact, a massive volcanic eruption, a sudden widespread burst of wildfires. But a few adventurous researchers have begun to ask a question that feels almost heretical. What if one of those anomalies was caused by something not entirely natural? Something technological, the fingerprint of an ancient forgotten industry. That is the provocative thought behind the so-called Silurian hypothesis. It is not presented as definitive proof of ancient civilizations, but rather as a rigorous scientific exercise in profound humility. It asks, if an advanced society had existed millions of years ago, what enduring remnants of it would remain now? The answer is unsettling in its starkness, almost nothing readily visible. The Earth in its ceaseless geological processes recycles itself constantly. The crust shifts, melts, reforms. In a mere few million years, even our deepest cities and tallest, most imposing towers would be utterly erased, folded back into the planet's mantle. All that might remain are the most subtle signals, faint chemical footprints embedded in sediment, minor isotopic imbalances in carbon or oxygen, the ghost traces of synthetic materials that resist total decay. Those are precisely the kinds of clues scientists now employ to study our own profound industrial impact, our own brief, fervent civilization. When we burn fossil fuels, we irrevocably change the ratio of carbon isotopes in the atmosphere. When we produce plastics, we leave polymer residues that slowly settle into the ocean floors. If our society were to vanish today, those distinct layers, our discarded materials, would be our only lasting legacy. A future geologist, millions of years hence, might, if they looked closely enough, discern a thin anomalous band marking the Anthropocene, the brief intense era when humans profoundly altered the planet's chemistry. And if it happened before long before us, that earlier faint band might already be buried under kilometres of rock, folded, metamorphosed, almost entirely obscured. That profound idea brings the story closer to the planet itself. It reminds us that civilizations are not separate entities from Earth. They are intrinsic parts of its vast cyclical processes. If one arose in deep prehistory, its enduring traces would not likely be grand artifacts or visible ruins, but rather subtle, persistent patterns in the sediment, odd concentrations of rare, unusual metals, strange isotopic signatures, perhaps even microscopic remnants of synthetic compounds. The Earth's memory, if we could fully decode its silent language, would tell us whether intelligence has truly visited this planet before, in a form recognisably similar to ours. So far, we have only read the most superficial layers, but even the surface alone holds mysteries enough to confound us. Across the continents, researchers uncover layers of ash charcoal and melted rock that speak of sudden cataclysmic upheavals, mass extinctions, devastating comet impacts, abrupt global climate shifts. The Younger Dryas period, around 12 to 800 years ago, is one of those profound puzzles. It marked a sudden, inexplicable return to glacial conditions, just as the Ice Age was conclusively ending. The precise cause is still debated, perhaps a comet impact, perhaps massive meltwater floods disrupting crucial ocean currents. Either way, it uncannily coincides with many flood myths across the world, stories of fire and ice of profound destruction followed by miraculous rebirth. If an earlier civilization existed, that event might very well have been its catastrophic undoing. a planetary reset that forced any scattered survivors to begin again painstakingly from scratch. The Earth holds other even deeper kinds of memory too, a biological memory written in the intricate language of genes. Every living species carries the indelible imprint of its ancestors, tiny encoded records of adaptation and survival. Our own DNA tells a story far older than any written history. Genetic studies suggest that humans nearly went extinct around 70,000 years ago, perhaps reduced to a mere few thousand individuals after a massive volcanic eruption or a dramatic climatic shift. That genetic bottleneck would have profoundly wiped out most of our early diversity, including any potential traces of older parallel human cultures. If advanced humans had existed before that event, their lineage might have ended their erase not by conquest, but by the simple, brutal mathematics of survival. What remained became us a species with a profound collective amnesia, starting over on the same old familiar stage. Sometimes when geologists speak about the planet's deep past, they describe it like a vast heartbeat. Each age possesses a distinct rhythm, slow warming, slow cooling, steady pulses of life and death. But occasionally that rhythm stutters. Something extraordinary cataclysmic happens, an extinction event, a global flood, a sudden anomalous rise in carbon or radiation. These profound interruptions are the planet's way of marking dramatic turning points, as if each one were a new chapter break in its colossal autobiography. Some are undeniably natural, others perhaps not entirely so. Each could be a subtle sign that something intelligent briefly flickered across the surface before being folded back into the enduring stone. What renders this idea so immensely difficult to definitively test is time itself. The further back one probes, the less distinct, the more blurred the record becomes. Rock layers twist, compress, metamorphose. Entire regions sink into the mantle and resurface millions of years later as towering mountains. Yet even within that immense destruction, the Earth preserves exquisite fragments. Zircon crystals older than the moon's craters, grains of ancient dust that once floated through prehistoric skies. In those microscopic fragments, scientists can detect the faint signatures of atmospheric change. A slight enrichment of certain isotopes can reveal when plants first began to photosynthesize, when oxygen initially filled the air, when carbon levels spiked unexpectedly. Those spikes are the Earth's equivalent of emotional memory, moments so intense they left an indelible scar. If a technological society had ever existed before, we might find its scars in precisely the same way. Not fossilized machines or majestic ruins, but the subtle aftermath of whatever energy it utilized. Perhaps a thin anomalous layer of synthetic elements, or a mysterious isotope that does not naturally occur. We actively search for those traces already, in part because we are meticulously creating them ourselves. Our pollution, our radiation, our industrial byproducts, they're all writing new indelible lines into the geological record. 100,000 years from now, long after our grand buildings have vanished, that record will remain. And when future scientists or whatever sentient beings follow us read it, they will know unequivocally that someone was here. In a profound way, that is what renders the Earth's memory both strangely comforting and terrifying. It forgets almost everything, but not quite everything. It remembers enough to tell us that change is ceaseless, that life in its myriad forms survives, and that intelligence, if it arises, is always inevitably temporary. Civilizations bloom like intricate coral reefs, complex, breathtakingly beautiful, profoundly fragile, and then dissolve back into the vast indifferent sea. The underlying reef remains reshaped, layered over, becoming part of the next generation's foundation. The more we study the deep record, the more we realize that the Earth itself may be the profound continuity we have been searching for. It carries the collective memories of every species, every audacious attempt at complexity, every fleeting spark of awareness. If there was a first civilization, the planet would remember it not as we do with stories or grand monuments, but as a faint chemical rhythm subtly repeating through the immense expanse of time. Perhaps that rhythm is precisely why we keep rediscovering the same profound ideas, the same intricate patterns, the same innate drive to understand. We are echoing what came before, not consciously, but through the deep biological inheritance of a world that has already learned these fundamental lessons once in ways we can barely comprehend. In places where tectonic plates violently collide, the Earth's memory becomes visibly dramatically exposed for a fleeting moment. Folded rock pushed upward, exposing layers once buried miles deep. Each band tells a story. Some are smooth and quiet, others sharp and chaotic. To a geologist, they are as meaningful as complete sentences. To most of us, they are just abstract patterns. But maybe those patterns are the very same language spoken by ancient builders and forgotten scientists, a profound language of cycles and proportions of repetition and cosmic resonance. The planet has been composing in that language since long before us, and we have only just begun to learn how to truly listen. Even the silent deserts meticulously keep their records. Under the shifting sand of the Sahara lie fossilized river systems, once green and vibrant, now frozen in pristine satellite imagery. The desert was not always a desert. It shifted with the monsoons turning fertile and then dry in repeating immense waves. In one of those fertile periods, humans thrived, painting the walls of caves with vivid images of giraffes, elephants, and abundant water scenes. And deeper still, under countless layers of dunes, archaeologists uncover tools and carvings far older than expected, artifacts that subtly hint at sophisticated cultures existing before the climate irrevocably turned to aridness. The sand remembers the rivers, the rock remembers the builders. The profound story is still there, even if the surface is long forgotten. Oceans, too, store their memories in profound silence. Sediments settle gently over centuries, forming soft layers that meticulously trap the smallest remains of life: shells, plankton, dust from distant continents. Scientists can analyze those layers grain by meticulous grain, painstakingly reconstructing ancient temperatures, oxygen levels, and even global wind patterns from eons ago. Each microscopic fossil is a timestamp and elemental signature of a distant age. Somewhere in those layers there could be an unexplained anomaly, a subtle spike of metals, a strange unidentifiable molecule, a faint chemical whisper of something we cannot yet fully explain. Maybe we have already collected it sitting unnoticed in some lab freezer, mistakenly mislabeled as contamination. The planet's memory is vast, its archives immense, and we are still painstakingly learning how to read its ancient handwriting. What is striking is how profoundly forgiving the Earth is. No matter what cataclysm befalls it, it rebuilds. Forests regrow, oceans circulate anew, species adapt and evolve. Even if a civilization burns itself out, the planet folds that event into its memory, heals and inexorably moves on. To the Earth, a few thousand years is merely a heartbeat. That might be why it forgets so easily, why the definitive evidence of earlier worlds is so faint, so elusive. Time smooths everything down until only the bare shape of the story remains. But shapes can still be recognized even when names and faces are long gone. In a profound sense, the Earth's memory is what intrinsically connects us to any who came before. It holds the continuity of the enduring human impulse to build, to question, to survive. Every mine, every quarry, every fossil bed we open is a conversation with the deep past. We're reading its profound thoughts one layer at a time and leaving our own notes as we go. The dialogue never truly stops, it simply changes speakers. And while the planet's memory is mostly impartial, it possesses moods, rhythms of its own. There are calm periods, long epochs of balance and stability, and then moments of violent dramatic correction. Extinctions, floods, earthquakes, fires. These are the planet's editing marks, reshaping its story when it grows too cluttered, too off-kilter. Civilizations rise in the quiet, fertile spaces between those edits. They flourish when the Earth is calm and vanish when it dramatically turns the page. If that rhythm has repeated for millions of years, then the memory of the first civilization might simply be buried under too many revisions, too many subsequent narratives to easily perceive. But like faint handwriting, beneath new ink traces can still be detected with the right tools, with the right sensitivity. We have begun developing those tools: advanced isotope analysis, deep radar imaging, sediment core sampling, DNA reconstruction. Each one is a sophisticated way of translating the planet's silent, multi-layered archive. We are discovering that the Earth records everything, even subtle emotions, in a way: stress in ancient trees, trauma in coral formations, resilience in the very soil. It remembers pressure, vibration, chemistry. If a society once profoundly reshaped the world through large-scale farming, extensive mining, or monumental building, the soil would reflect it. If they significantly altered the atmosphere, the ice would meticulously capture it. The planet does not play favourites. It keeps everything. And so the profound question remains: if the Earth remembers everything, what is it subtly trying to tell us now? Maybe it is that we are not unique, that others have walked this same path, faced the same existential choices, reached the same intellectual and technological heights. Or maybe it is reminding us that forgetting is an intrinsic necessary part of the cycle too. That even memory must erode, must dissipate for new life, new perspectives to grow. When you ponder it, our own fervent search for ancient civilizations is in itself an act of planetary memory. We are helping the Earth remember itself. We are painstakingly piecing together fragments it has hidden, giving voice to layers that cannot speak on their own. Every fossil, every shard, every chemical trace we find is a line from the planet's vast autobiography. Whether or not those lines definitively describe a lost civilization, they tell us something profound and immutable, that nothing truly disappears here. Everything becomes part of something else, transformed, reabsorbed. And maybe that is what the first civilization profoundly understood. Maybe they saw themselves not as separate from the Earth, but as an integral part of its consciousness, a fleeting pattern in its larger, enduring thought. They might have intuitively known that the real monument isn't merely what you construct, but what you leave indelibly embedded in the world itself. The soil under our feet could still carry their imprint, not as ruins, but as a subtle balance, as an underlying order, as a faint guiding rhythm that led them once and subtly guides us now. As we listen to that rhythm, the next step becomes clear, almost inevitable. If the planet keeps its memories in enduring stone and silent sediment, then the stories of those who came before might still echo vibrantly in legend, in the myths that miraculously survived when everything else was lost to the winds of time. Those stories might not be mere fiction at all, but profound translations of geological memory into human language, into narrative. And when rigorous science finally encounters those ancient legends, we might at last begin to recognize the deeper truth hidden between them. Every culture from the dawn of human storytelling possesses its narratives about how the world began and how it dramatically ended once before. They tell of cataclysmic floods, of all-consuming fire, of grand cities that vanished without a trace, of benevolent teachers who arrived from the stars or from the depths of the sea to help rebuild what was tragically lost. For a long time, mainstream science treated these narratives as mere allegories, moral lessons, symbolic explanations for inexplicable natural events. Yet as our scientific tools grow ever sharper, and our profound understanding of the planet deepens, something curious, something compelling keeps happening. The old stories begin to sound less like pure imagination and more like a profound collective memory. It is not that myth and science suddenly merge or agree in every detail. They speak fundamentally different languages. Science operates in the realm of data and rigorous verification. Myth operates in the realm of metaphor, emotion, and profound cultural meaning. But both at their core are fervent attempts to describe the same complex world. And sometimes when we listen carefully, deeply to what the stories are really saying, we find that they have been describing fundamental geological or astronomical truths all along, simply in a form that early humans could comprehend and transmit. For centuries, scholars summarily dismissed the global flood myths as universal human fantasy. Yet in the late 20th century, geologists confirmed that massive catastrophic floods did indeed dramatically reshape the planet as the last ice age irrevocably ended. Sea levels rose by more than 100 meters. Colossal glacial lakes burst through ice dams, carving immense canyons overnight. In places like the Pacific Northwest, the Caspian region, and the Black Sea Basin, sudden overwhelming inundations utterly transformed entire landscapes. If you lived through something like that, your descendants would certainly remember it. They might call it divine judgment, or a rebirth, or a profound cleansing of the world. Myths, in their enduring power, preserve that raw memory even when specific details fade into the mists of time. The Mesopotamian story of Utnapishti, written thousands of years before the biblical Noah, vividly tells of a flood that covered all the land. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes the same cataclysmic event with uncanny familiarity. The ark the bird sent to find land the mountaintop where the vessel finally rested. The Sumerians, Babylonians and Hebrews all recounted variations of the same fundamental story, echoing what may have been a real devastating regional flood, amplified over generations into cosmic scale. Farther east, ancient Hindu texts speak of Manu, who was warned by a wise fish about a coming deluge. In Greece, Deucalion survived a flood sent by Zeus to cleanse a corrupted humanity. In China, Yu the Great heroically tamed the waters after they swallowed vast tracts of land. On the opposite side of the world, Native American and Aboriginal stories vividly recall great floods that destroyed earlier worlds, forcing a new beginning. These myths, separated by continents and millennia, align uncannily in their central theme and general timing. They may not describe a single identical event, but they collectively remember the same fundamental pattern: the planet changing suddenly, violently, and civilization struggling desperately to survive. When rigorous science finally confirmed that global sea levels rose catastrophically around 12,000 years ago, myth and geology quietly, profoundly shook hands. One was a story told in powerful symbols, the other was irrefutable data written in sediment and rock. Both describe the same monumental transformation. That is precisely when researchers began to look again at other myths, not as mere fiction, but as profound cultural records of real impactful events filtered and reshaped through the vast crucible of time. Volcanoes, for example, inspired countless legends of powerful gods dwelling beneath mountains: the Greek Hephaestus, the Polynesian Pele, the Japanese Kagutsuchi, all fiery deities born of cataclysmic eruption. When archaeologists meticulously studied the timelines of ancient eruptions, they found that many coincided uncannily with the earliest versions of these very myths. Entire civilizations watched mountains explode, ash darkening the sky, the very earth trembling violently beneath their feet. Without modern instruments, myth was their science, their primary way of comprehending and coping with forces beyond their control. And in that profound sense, those stories are not wrong. They are vivid eyewitness accounts translated into the primal language of reverence and awe. Even celestial myths often hold surprising verifiable accuracy. Ancient peoples described the complex movements of the stars, planets, and comets with poetic yet precise detail. In Australia, Aboriginal constellations align with seasonal cycles still profoundly relevant to navigation and agriculture today. In the Americas, Mayan astronomers tracked Venus and Mars so meticulously that their calendars and calculations rival modern predictions. Greek myths about Orion, Perseus, and Andromeda preserve the precise arrangement of constellations as they appeared thousands of years ago. When we meticulously decode them with astronomical software, we realize those stories were in essence timestamps, oral records of the night sky eloquently frozen in mythic form. There is also the profound question of lost lands, perhaps the most persistent and emotionally resonant theme of all Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, names that carry the heavy weight of nostalgia for a forgotten golden world. Plato's tale of Atlantis remains the most famous, but his version was not the first. Many earlier cultures told remarkably similar stories of island empires destroyed by water or fire. What truly fascinates researchers is that these legends often point to periods of real dramatic geological upheaval, times when entire regions did in fact sink beneath rising seas. The Cinder Shelf in Southeast Asia, the vast Caribbean basin in the North Atlantic, all once hosted sprawling coastal plains now irrevocably drowned. When the Ice Age ended, those lands vanished within a few short generations. The survivors would have watched their world collapse into the sea. In myth, they became the revered ancestors of new peoples carrying fragments of lost knowledge inland. Of course, not every legend corresponds neatly to a precise scientific event. Some are layers of vivid imagination built atop older forgotten truths. But the underlying pattern is undeniably there. Myth possesses a remarkable capacity to preserve memory long after physical evidence disappears. Oral cultures in particular ingeniously use story as a powerful way to encode practical knowledge. A tale about a dangerous serpent in the river might subtly warn of treacherous currents. A god who punishes hubris might be a profound metaphor for natural balance. And a myth about a vanished golden age could be a distant yet real recollection of widespread prosperity before catastrophe struck. Science approaches these stories cautiously, not to confirm them literally, but to discern what they reveal about the keen observation and deep wisdom of early humanity. For example, studies of Aboriginal Australian myths demonstrate they accurately describe coastlines as they were 12,000 years ago, before rising seas fundamentally redrew them. Those stories have been passed down unbroken for hundreds of generations, an astonishing oral record of geological change unmatched by any written chronicle. Similarly, Polynesian navigation charts encode detailed star maps and complex ocean routes. When anthropologists compared them to modern GPS data, they found remarkable consistency. These were not primitive fictions. They were sophisticated tools for survival, vital knowledge, cleverly disguised as compelling narrative. What happens then when myth and science meet in the middle, when each helps the other remember? It becomes a profound dialogue across time. Science brings its precise instruments and empirical data. Myth brings its deep continuity and emotional resonance. One provides measurement, the other meaning. Together they allow us to perceive that history is not a straight linear path, but a complex braid of keen observation, devastating disaster, and enduring recollection. In recent years, researchers in fields as diverse as archaeology, climatology, and anthropology have begun collaborating directly with storytellers and elders from indigenous cultures to reconstruct localized histories. In doing so, they have confirmed details once thought impossible: volcanic eruptions dated to the exact generation, preserved in myth coastlines, remembered from when they lay far offshore, and star positions described with astonishing precision as they appeared millennia ago. Myth, it seems, is a resilient, elegant form of data compression. It stores vital information in rhythm, powerful image, and repetition, precisely the way deep memory naturally prefers. Sometimes, however, the overlap between myth and verifiable evidence becomes profoundly difficult to explain through mere coincidence alone. Certain stories mention stars or celestial events that correspond to positions we can now astronomically date, positions that haven't existed for tens of thousands of years. The Egyptian myth of Osiris and Isis strikingly mirrors the rising of Orion's belt and Sirius at a time far earlier than Egypt's official historical record. In South America, the Inca myths of Viracocha describe a god emerging after a great flood to teach people architecture and astronomy, remarkably similar to Mesopotamian tales of Oannes, who did the same on the opposite side of the world. These profound parallels may simply reflect the universal human impulse to explain civilization as a gift from beyond, but they could also compellingly hint that both regions inherited the same foundational story from a deeper, older common source. The idea that memory can survive in story longer than in enduring stone is not difficult to grasp. Language in its myriad forms evolves slowly, but emotion, awe, fear, reverence, carries messages intact across vast gulfs of time. When entire generations repeat a story every season, every year, it becomes self-preserving. a single crucial detail like the precise timing of the stars or the distinct sound of the sea can remain astonishingly accurate for thousands of years, precisely because the story's coherence depends on it. Myth, in its elegant way, keeps the facts alive without ever explicitly calling them facts. Some scientists quite rightly resist this blending of myth and empirical evidence. The line between pattern recognition and imaginative speculation is undeniably thin. Yet it is also true that myth often serves as an invaluable guide to discovery. Heinrich Schliemann famously found the ancient city of Troy by meticulously following Homer's verses. Archaeologists on Crete used legends of King Minos to uncover the sprawling palace of Knossos. Even the search for meteor impacts and ancient craters has been guided by indigenous tales vividly describing fire from the sky. Each time myth pointed the way long before empirical data confirmed it. Perhaps what is happening is not that myth accurately predicts science, but that both draw from the same underlying reality. One emotional and narrative, the other analytical and empirical. The Earth experiences an event. Humanity interprets it. The story lasts longer than the original perishable evidence, so when science finally catches up, it feels like profound rediscovery. If a first civilization once existed, its profound legacy might live not in surviving physical structures, but in the myths that stubbornly refuse to die. Over millennia, their specific details would shift, their heroes would change names, their geography would blur into abstraction. Yet the core idea, a lost world of advanced knowledge tragically destroyed by disaster, would persist an indelible echo. Atlantis might be just one version of that recurring theme, a symbolic stand-in for every civilization the planet has forgotten. The myth survives precisely because it speaks to something universal within the human psyche, the innate fear of loss and the profound longing to remember. In this way, science and legend become two halves of the same timeless act of remembrance. Science digs downward, meticulously peeling back layers of earth and ancient ice. Legend moves upward, carrying profound meaning through countless generations. Where they meet, the past briefly becomes visible again like a fleeting reflection on still water. For a moment, we can perceive both what was demonstrably real and what was deeply remembered overlapping perfectly. And when that happens, something subtle yet profound shifts within our understanding. The fundamental question changes from "did this really happen?" to "what are we remembering?" Maybe the stories we categorize as myths are humanity's version of the Earth's geological record, an emotional narrative sediment built up over deep time. Just as rocks preserve the indelible record of eruptions and extinctions, stories preserve our primal fears, our triumphs, and our profound discoveries. Both are records of experience, one written in enduring stone, the other in the subtle evolving language of human narrative. As we continue to explore this vital intersection, we begin to realize that the border between history and myth is porous, permeable. Every scientific discovery about our ancient past seems to echo something already whispered by old stories. The flood, the lost land, the sky gods, the rebirth of civilization, all are part of the same grand cycle repeated in both human and planetary memory alike. So perhaps the real task isn't to rigidly separate science from legend, but to allow them to deeply inform each other. Science keeps us honest, tethered to verifiable truth. Legend keeps us connected, rooted in profound meaning. The first looks outward for empirical proof. The second looks inward for enduring continuity. Together they might help us glimpse the whole truth, a truth that encompasses both the measurable physical world and the immeasurable emotional one. The tangible evidence we can meticulously measure and the deep memory we can instinctively feel. And as this quiet investigation continues, as we trace the faint fingerprints of lost ages through both empirical data and compelling story, another question emerges subtly yet persistently. If ancient myths preserve real profound memories, then what else might they contain? Could they hold actual instructions, fragments of vital knowledge meant to survive even when everything else demonstrably fell apart? If so, then perhaps those ancient builders, Those vanished teachers left more than mere ruins and captivating legends. Maybe they left blueprints, ideas subtly embedded in myth and profound symbol, patiently waiting for us to decode them. That is precisely where the path begins to lead next, toward the compelling idea that those who came before might have been more than mere storytellers. They may have been engineers, scientists, astronomers, and philosophers whose profound work still subtly influences us, hidden in plain sight. To truly find them, we must look not in temples or texts, but in the structures themselves, in the logic of their geometry, in technologies that seem centuries ahead of their supposed time. The ruins of the ancient world are not silent remnants, they are riddles. Their precision and endurance defy the idea that they were built by primitive minds. They whisper a deeper question, not just who built them or why, but how. How were 100-ton stones lifted and placed with perfect accuracy, without cranes or engines? How was granite carved with such effortless precision, or chambers aligned so exactly with the stars? Our explanations lost technologies, mass labour, pure genius only deepen the mystery. Every new discovery pushes the boundary of what ancient humanity was capable of. Perhaps the answer is not otherworldly, but profoundly human. Maybe these forgotten engineers were people like us thinkers, who once mastered principles we later lost. Civilization may not be a steady ascent, but a tide rising, receding, rising again. Knowledge grows and collapses like waves erasing and redrawing the shoreline of memory. Walk through Baalbek in Lebanon, where stones weighing over 1,000 tons rest perfectly fitted in foundations older than Rome. Visit Egypt, where the granite blocks of the Great Pyramid's King's Chamber interlock so tightly that not even a blade can pass between them. Or Peru, where the stones of Sacsayhuaman curve and lock like a living puzzle. Across the world, in Bolivia's Pumapunku, India's stepwells, Cambodia's Angkor Wat, different cultures achieved the same uncanny precision. They shared no language, yet their structures speak the same one geometry, proportion, endurance. Modern engineers find that these monuments are not mere art, they are tuned machines. Some absorb seismic energy, others manage water or resist erosion. Builders from Japan to South America use similar interlocking masonry that flexes during earthquakes, an engineering principle rediscovered only recently. Such insight could not have been coincidence. The ancients also mastered sound. In Malta's Hypogeum, a chant vibrates through the rock, resonating at a frequency that affects the human body. At the Mayan pyramid of Kukulkan, a single clap echoes like the chirp of the sacred Quetzal bird. Egyptian temples, Incan walls, and even Stonehenge amplify sound intentionally. These designs were not accidents. They were acoustic instruments merging architecture and awareness. How did they learn such mastery without written science or modern tools? Likely through generations of observation, a patient, unbroken chain of experimentation. But history is fragile. Libraries burn, empires fall, oral knowledge fades. What if the builders themselves were inheritors, guardians of a wisdom from before recorded history? Their tools remain elusive. Copper chisels found near quarries could never cut granite so cleanly. Perfectly smooth boreholes in Egypt and Peru seem to demand advanced methods, rotary drills, or something else entirely. Some researchers experiment with sound-based cutting and ultrasonic shaping, finding that vibration alone can carve stone with astonishing precision. Perhaps ancient engineers discovered their own simpler versions of such techniques, elegant, efficient, and ultimately forgotten. Their awareness extended far beyond craftsmanship. The builders of Giza aligned their monuments not only to the cardinal directions but also to stars visible 12,000 years ago. The three pyramids mirror Orion's belt, the Nile arcs like the Milky Way. In South America, sacred sites align to solstices, lunar cycles, and magnetic north. This level of astronomical precision implies millennia of observation, or inherited charts drawn from civilizations even older. Many myths speak of teachers who came after the flood, divine figures bringing knowledge of writing, building, and the stars. The Sumerians named them the Anunnaki, the Egyptians Thoth, the Maya Kukulkan, the Inca Viracocha. Whether gods or metaphors, they may represent the same phenomenon, survivors of a fallen world, sharing fragments of a vanished science. Perhaps what we call the dawn of civilization was in truth its rebirth, a restoration of knowledge once widespread but scattered by catastrophe. Skilled remnants passing on fragments of their understanding to hunter-gatherers who would become the next architects. Over time, their teachings became myth, their tools became symbols, and their science became sacred ritual. The students forgot the names of their teachers, but not the lessons themselves. We see this cycle even in recorded history. The formulas for Roman concrete, the forging of Damascus steel, the fire of the Greeks, all lost, not because they were impossible, but because knowledge is fragile. It survives only as long as its keepers endure. Multiply that loss across ages and entire sciences could vanish. Yet traces remain not just in stone, but in us. Geometry, symmetry, harmonic ratios, they appear in every age, every culture. We call them instinct, but perhaps they are memory echoes of a civilization that once saw pattern as the language of the universe. The golden ratio found in temples' art and even DNA might not be invention, but inheritance and ancient intuition that beauty, balance and truth are one. If so, then the forgotten engineers were not gods but reminders, proof that humanity has risen before fallen before and remembered again. Their message was not carved merely in stone but in design itself, a call to build with awareness, to see knowledge as continuity rather than conquest. We are their inheritors, walking amid their silent equations, rediscovering what they once knew, that the earth itself is a vast instrument and every generation must learn again how to play it. Even agriculture bears the quiet fingerprints of forgotten engineering. The first irrigation systems of Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley reveal not guesswork but a deep grasp of hydraulics and soil chemistry. The terraced farms of the Andes still regulate temperature and moisture through self-sustaining microclimates, nearly impossible to improve upon. In India, ancient wells still deliver clean water filtered by stonework designed millennia ago. These were not accidents. They were systems refined through generations of observation experiments measured not in spreadsheets, but in seasons. Through this lens, the past ceases to be mystery for mystery's sake. It becomes continuity, the same flame of curiosity burning in different eras. The forgotten engineers may not have vanished at all. Their understanding may live on diffused into the DNA of civilization itself. Perhaps their mastery wasn't based on machines or metal, but on an intimate harmony with the natural world. Maybe they learned to use sound to move stone resonance, to shape matter magnetism, to guide design methods so subtle that they left no trace, only their results, structures of impossible precision, enduring through time like musical notes frozen into stone. Modern science now circles back to those same frontiers, experimenting with resonance magnetism and low-energy shaping techniques. Each new finding feels less like invention and more like rediscovery. Perhaps if those builders could speak, they would tell us that true progress isn't measured in complexity, but in attunement, in knowing how to build with the rhythms of the earth rather than against them. We think of civilization as linear and ever upward climb, but perhaps it moves in cycles, accumulating, collapsing and rising again. The forgotten engineers might not have been the first, only the latest in an ancient pattern. Every few ages, knowledge peaks, falters and restarts. Our descendants may one day study our ruins and ask the same question we ask of theirs. How did they do it across the world? Those answers still hum beneath the surface. In temples aligned to vanished stars, in stones that defy erosion, in patterns too deliberate to be random. Each monument is a message across time. Intelligence has walked here before. They built not for power, but for memory, for the hope that someone somewhere would one day understand. Their purpose may have been communication itself, a dialogue across epochs. Perhaps they knew their civilization would fade, that only geometry, proportion, and celestial order could endure. If you wanted to speak to the far future, to minds, separated from you by millennia, by language, by extinction. What medium would you choose? Not paper, not metal, not even orbiting machines. Only the planet itself, its stone, its sky, its eternal cycles. Maybe that is why they built the way they did. The Great Pyramid aligns almost perfectly to true north whispering, here lies the centre of understanding. The Mayan temples mark equinoxes with flawless precision, recording the moment when the world turns. Stone circles trace the solstices as if to say, time itself can be measured by shadow and light. Every alignment, every ratio, every resonance is a deliberate form of speech, a message not carved in words but encoded in the eternal grammar of the cosmos. We knew this. We wanted you to know it too. Some believe these sites form a planetary network, a vast coherent map connecting civilizations long vanished. The Nazca lines visible only from the sky stretch for kilometers across Peru's desert, forming geometric patterns and animals so large they could only be fully seen from above. Perhaps they weren't built for gods or ancient pilots, but for us, for a species that would one day learn to fly, to look down from orbit to finally recognize the design. Even the global repetition of celestial alignment hints at intentional unity. Giza's pyramids mirror Orion's belt, a pattern echoed in monuments across continents. These might not be symbols of worship, but coordinates markers synchronizing the earth with the heavens. A civilization capable of such awareness wasn't building shrines. It was leaving a cosmic address, a fixed point for future minds to rediscover. If that idea holds, then the ancient world was not just building temples, but libraries storing information not in text, but in proportion and form. The Great Pyramid encodes PF the Earth's circumference, even the ratio of its orbit to the Sun. These constants never change. They are universal signatures, a way to say we understood the same physics you do. Architecture became a textbook written in stone, legible to any species that can measure. Modern humanity has done something similar. When we launched the Voyager probes into space, we etched golden records with maps, sounds, and mathematical codes, hoping that if found, some distant intelligence could decode them. The ancients may have done the same here on Earth, embedding knowledge in the one medium guaranteed to survive cataclysm, the planet itself. Across temples and pyramids, ratios mirror planetary orbits, axial tilt and lunar motion. Some monuments may even encode time itself, the Mayan long count, the precession of the equinoxes, the slow turning of the zodiac. The Sphinx, eternally facing east, greets each new dawn as the sun drifts through constellations over 26,000 years, a clock too vast for a single lifetime, perhaps meant for ours. Such precision suggests a message not of fear or prophecy, but of awareness. Know where you stand. Know when you are. Their monuments teach through endurance geometry as scripture alignment as memory. They are the Earth's long-term databank, still whispering that intelligence, when in harmony with the planet, can make knowledge immortal. Maybe the forgotten engineers did not seek immortality for themselves, but for understanding itself, a bridge between what is and what will come. They built so that one day when the silence lifted and curiosity rose again, someone would look up, measure the stars, and finally recognize the pattern. That moment, the act of rediscovery, is the true continuation of their work. Their story never truly ended. It only waited, carved quietly into the bones of the world for us to listen. Even the myths that surround ancient monuments seem less like fantasies and more like instructions encoded in story. The Egyptian Book of the Dead mapped the soul's journey through celestial gates aligned with real constellations. The Mayan Popol Vuh spoke of recurring cycles of creation and destruction mirroring astronomical rhythms. In India, the Vedas hid complex planetary data within their mythic wars and cosmic hymns. These were not coincidences. Myths, monuments, and mathematics once worked together as a single system of knowledge designed to carry meaning across time. But who were these messages meant for gods the dead, or us, the ones yet to come? Perhaps those words all mean the same thing. Gods may have simply meant future minds. The builders might have known that their world would fall, but trusted that another would rise to find the clues. They couldn't preserve their voices, but they could preserve their understanding. Each monument becomes a letter to whoever comes next. We were here. We learned this much. Don't forget. These messages were not meant to be obvious. They were coded deliberately. Knowledge written in geometry, visible only to civilizations advanced enough to read it. To the uninitiated, a pyramid is just a tomb. To a scientist, it is a map of the heavens. The same logic drives us today when we design warnings for nuclear waste patterns and symbols that might survive 10,000 years. The message must outlast language. Perhaps the ancient builders faced the same question we face now. How do you make knowledge endure? Our digital archives are fragile and solar flare could erase them. Stone, however, needs no electricity. Geometry does not decay. Their monuments were built as eternal storage devices, information preserved through symmetry, proportion, and alignment. And maybe we're already reading it. Every time we measure an ancient site and find impossible precision, we are decoding part of their message. Every shared ratio and alignment whispers that they were telling us something universal, not how to survive a cataclysm, but how to preserve wisdom itself. Some even believe the Earth was part of that message. Many monuments lie along magnetic lines, fault zones and latitudes of harmonic proportion, as if designed to stabilize, not dominate the planet. Architecture as ecology, building not on Earth but with it. If true, their message could be beautifully simple. Remember how to build in harmony with nature. In our own age, we're beginning to listen again. Engineers study how ancient temples survive earthquakes better than modern towers. Scientists analyze Roman concrete that heals itself. Farmers rediscover irrigation systems that conserve water perfectly. Each rediscovery is a reply to a message left long ago, a dialogue across millennia carried not by words but by design. If the first civilization left anything deliberate, perhaps it was not one monument, but a pattern, a planetary code composed of many sites. The Giza Plateau, Angkor Wat, Teotihuacan and Stonehenge all follow celestial alignments that when mapped together form an intricate web. Maybe the message was, do not study one in isolation. Connect them and the pattern will appear. What does that pattern say? That civilizations rise and fall with the rhythm of the Earth itself. That knowledge, like life, is cyclical, always rediscovered, never truly lost. Intelligence is not a destination, but a pulse repeating through time. Perhaps they knew the world would fall silent and begin again, and that one day someone else would recognize the echo and remember. We're after all doing what they once did. Our satellites' data archives and interstellar probes are messages to the future. We inscribe our knowledge in code and orbit, hoping that someone human or otherwise will someday find and understand it. Maybe this is simply what intelligence does, it builds to remember. If those ancient builders could see us now, scanning their monuments with lasers and satellites tracing the geometry of their designs, perhaps they would smile the communication worked. It took 12,000 years, but the reply has finally come. And perhaps they would tell us their message was never about technology but perspective. Not we were powerful, but we understood where we belong. Each monument, each myth, each alignment whispers the same truth, that we are part of a vast intelligent system, Earth stars and consciousness in delicate harmony. Permanence isn't the survival of stone or empire, it's the survival of balance, and that may be what they wanted most for us to remember, that humanity is both temporary and magnificent. That names fade, but patterns endure. That knowledge once born cannot die, it only sleeps until rediscovered. Every civilization eventually meets its silence. Not in a cataclysmic instant, but gradually, a workshop abandoned, a bridge left. Unrepaired, a library closed and forgotten. The hum of creation fades into dusk. The Maya's cities vanished beneath vines. The Romans' grand arches returned to dust. The Indus Valley's perfect streets dissolved into silence. None believed their end was near. None ever do. What follows is not only the loss of stone, but of meaning. A temple becomes a tomb. A machine becomes a shrine. Myth replaces memory, and yet through that transformation the story lives on. Silence becomes mystery. Memory becomes wonder. The conversation continues, waiting for someone centuries later to listen again. If a civilization existed before all others, the very first, its silence must have been immense. Oceans, rising skies, dark with ash cities swallowed whole. Time itself would seem to hold its breath. How much would it take to erase nearly every trace of an advanced world, perhaps less than we imagine? The Earth is astonishingly skilled at forgetting. Within centuries, forests reclaim the ruins. Metal turns to dust, glass to sand. In 10,000 years, our skyscrapers would be soft hills beneath new soil. In 100,000, even the continents would shift. Only the most enduring stones might remain smoothed into anonymity. The planet does not rage, it waits. Its silence is not emptiness, but patience. If the first civilization fell, its silence could have lasted millennia. Forests covered its bones, rivers changed course. New peoples rose upon the same ground, unaware that their foundations hid older dreams. Archaeologists call this layering of history a palimpsest, something written, erased, and written again. The entire Earth is one vast palimpsest, each age a chapter written over the last. The silence between them is not absence, but waiting the planet, holding its breath until someone listens again. Imagine living through that fall. The sky darkens, the seasons warp. You carry memories of machines that no longer work, formulas no one understands. You tell your children that once the world was filled with light. Over generations, knowledge becomes story, and story becomes myth. Our ancestors spoke to the sky, they say. The silence is not empty. It hums with half-remembered words. In many ways, we live in that echo still. Flood myths. Golden Age's gods descending to teach humanity perhaps all of the memory of that ancient silence speaking through us. When knowledge fades, it condenses into symbol. Mathematics becomes ritual. Technology becomes legend. Then when the next civilization rises, curiosity returns. The cycle begins again. Silence then is not loss. It is space, the fallow field where meaning regrows. After every collapse, the earth heals. Coral returns to reefs. Forests reclaim the stone air, clears rivers, rewrite their beds. The silence is restoration. It erases arrogance but preserves essence. Perhaps that is why the traces of a first civilization are so faint. They were not destroyed in rage but absorbed in patience. Maybe their silence was chosen. Perhaps they knew that all things must rest before they rise again, that wisdom endures best when carried by the planet itself. Knowledge becomes soil instinct pattern. The silence between civilizations is not a flaw. It's the filter that keeps intelligence from devouring itself. Each rise brings pride. Each fall restores humility. The builders vanish, but their influence lingers, waiting for rediscovery. Modern scientists call this pattern the Great Filter, the unseen boundary that prevents civilizations from lasting forever. On Earth, the filter may simply be silence, a reset woven into the rhythm of life. It ensures no species dominates indefinitely. It humbles, balances, teaches. In that way, silence becomes sacred. Music needs pauses. Thought needs stillness. Meaning is born in the space between sounds. Perhaps the first civilization understood this perfectly. Their disappearance was not defeat, but transformation, a way to pass the torch without clinging to it. The ruins they left became verses in a song the earth continues to sing. Each age writes over the last, not to erase it, but to carry the melody forward. The silence between verses is what gives the song its shape. And now in our own time we can sense how fragile our noise truly is. The hum of machines, the glow of cities, it feels eternal, yet it would vanish quickly. If the power failed tomorrow, the stars would brighten. Within weeks, vines would split the pavement. Within years, forests would reclaim the skyline. The planet would not mourn. It would simply resume its breathing. Silence is the Earth's natural rhythm. But that thought need not frighten us. It should comfort us. The silence that follows is also renewal. The story doesn't end. It changes hands. We are not the first to speak, and we will not be the last. Our noise too will fade into the deeper harmony of the world, and when the next civilization rises, they will find faint traces of us, a layer of artifacts, a chemical signature, a few enduring stones. They will wonder who we were, trace our alignments, decode our myths, and feel the same haunting recognition we now feel. Then they will understand what we're beginning to realize, that we are all voices in the same grand dialogue, separated only by long silences. Each civilization sings for a while and falls quiet so another can begin. The silence is not the end of the song, it is the measure between its notes. Perhaps the first civilization's silence still lingers beneath us, a patient whisper in the stone, a pulse in the planet's memory. Every time we align monuments to stars, every time we listen deeply to myth or measure the Earth's rhythm, we are answering that whisper. And someday, when our own voice fades, the silence will return once more, fertile waiting filled with possibility. Because silence is not what happens when the story stops, it is what allows the next one to begin. Between the deep past and the unfolding future in the quiet space that binds them, there are people who listen. They are not mystics or prophets, but scientists, explorers and thinkers, patiently trying to hear what the earth still whispers. These are the searchers of today. They walk deserts, dive into abyssal seas and scan entire continents from orbit. Their tools are modern, but their purpose is ancient to remember. When an archaeologist kneels in the dust and brushes soil from an ancient stone, they aren't merely excavating objects. They are decoding memory, connecting with the hand that once carved it, perhaps 10,000 years ago. In that brief moment, time folds. The maker and the searcher share the same human impulse to know, to understand, to leave meaning behind. Archaeology has transformed. The image of explorers with shovels has given way to drones, satellites, and laser scanners. LiDAR can now peel back entire jungles, revealing lost cities and roads, once hidden under centuries of growth. In Central America, vast networks of temples and highways have emerged, proof that what seemed wilderness was once thriving civilization. The silence between then and now was only a thin layer of earth. Beneath the sea, sonar and submersibles map submerged worlds. Ancient coastlines, drowned harbours, entire towns swallowed by rising waters. Each scan redraws the boundaries of history. The ocean, once an opaque mystery, has become a living archive, its floor etched with forgotten memory. On land, ground-penetrating radar traces the ghosts of vanished walls beneath modern streets. Past and present lie stacked together, unaware of each other's quiet proximity. What makes today's searchers remarkable isn't just their technology, but their patience, a reverence bordering on spiritual devotion. They spend years on a single site, cataloguing fragments, testing theories, chasing faint traces of identity. Each small find rewrites part of our story, blurring the old lines between primitive and advanced, between myth and fact. Bit by bit, we learn that our ancestors were not naive dreamers, but acute observers, builders who understood the rhythm of the earth in ways we're only beginning to rediscover. The search now extends beyond soil. History is encoded in DNA and language in ice, and tree rings in the chemistry of the ocean. Geneticists trace migrations across continents through ancient bloodlines. Linguists reconstruct the first echoes of human speech. Paleoclimatologists read the memory of drought and flood within the frozen cores of glaciers. Each field has become its own archaeology, unearthing memory through data, not stone. We can now reconstruct the face of someone dead for 40,000 years, or simulate the climate that shaped their world. The whispers of stone have become streams of digital code. Slowly, the ancient world re-emerges pixel by pixel beneath the patient gaze of technology. And yet, with every answer, new mysteries deepen. We find structures older than expected, tools too sophisticated for their age, cultural connections that bridge impossible distances. Civilization, it seems, did not begin once, but many times a recurring awakening of awareness. Some searchers follow the anomalies, patterns that resist explanation, myths that align with geography too precisely to dismiss. They walk the razor's edge between skepticism and wonder, knowing that progress depends on brave curiosity, on asking what others overlook. Without that courage, we would never have found the silent cities beneath forest and sea. In universities and research labs, artificial intelligence now scans oceans of satellite data, identifying patterns, alignments, geometries too deliberate to be natural. Each algorithm becomes a new kind of eye discovering traces human vision once missed. Through these digital senses, the Earth appears more crowded with memory than ever before. And so the searches continue. Beneath microscopes, beneath jungles, beneath waves, they listen. They are translators between time and silence, decoding what the planet still remembers. What they seek is not simply the past, it is connection, continuity, the realization that memory itself is alive. In every discovery, the Earth is still speaking, and we with our tools and questions are learning once again how to listen. Amid all our dazzling technologies, the most enduring tool of discovery remains profoundly human intuition. That quiet, inexplicable sense that a landscape holds memory, that a ridge, a curve of stone, a pattern in the light carries ancient intent. Many great revelations still begin with a hunch, a single person standing on high ground feeling that the earth itself is whispering. The instruments only confirm what the heart already knew, that the planet is filled with messages patiently waiting to be understood. Not all searchers are scientists. Some are storytellers, divers, photographers, hikers, or quiet dreamers tracing forgotten lines across maps. Each in their own way contributes to the same collective act of remembering. Together they form a chorus, a vast human network of curiosity, the clearest sign that the old message from the first builders has not been lost. The conversation they began still continues. It has only changed frequency, translated into data satellites and digital echoes. Science and imagination, once divided, now find each other again. A geologist listens to legend before digging. An astronomer reads myth before charting stars. An anthropologist consults the memory of elders. This is not mysticism, it is reverence, the understanding that truth can live as easily in story as in stone. Knowledge, it seems, has never belonged to a single form. It flows like water taking shape wherever it's remembered. The searchers of today are custodians of the planet's memory. They stand between silence and speech, translating what the earth has kept hidden into understanding. Every uncovered artifact repairs the thread between eras as if whispering across millennia, "We found you, we are listening." Each discovery reminds us that history is alive, fluid and unfinished, not because the past changes, but because our ability to hear it does. And yet for everything revealed, far more remains buried. Beneath oceans, beneath mountains, entire worlds sleep unseen. The deeper we go, the stranger and older the earth becomes. Perhaps in the black silence of the seabed, the last traces of the first civilization still rest intact, waiting. Ironically, just as we learn to remember, we're also forgetting faster than ever. Construction, mining, and climate change expose and destroy the very records we seek. Melting glaciers release artifacts that crumble upon contact with air. The desert reveals a ruin, only for it to be erased by the next city. Discovery now races against loss. The excitement of finding is always shadowed by the sorrow of what's gone. Still, they keep searching. Because every recovered fragment, every small victory against oblivion adds to the great ongoing memory of humankind. Archaeology is not really about the past, it is about endurance, about proving that after each silence something always remains. The searchers are not only looking backward, they are also looking forward, wondering what future civilizations will find of us. Our monuments are fragile, our data fleeting, but perhaps they will recognize the same truth we have just rediscovered, that curiosity itself is the most enduring form of memory. In that way, the search becomes a bridge across ages. Each generation listens to the earth in its own language through stone story, science, or code, leaving traces for the next. The deeper message of all searchers is continuity, that knowledge is not the property of a time, but a rhythm of existence. It flows through every hand that builds, every mind that wonders, every silence that waits. Somewhere in a glowing lab, a computer hums over ancient data. On a distant ridge, a lone researcher marks the alignment of weathered stones at sunset. Deep below the ocean, a submersible glides over the shadow of a buried wall. Each, knowingly or not, participates in the same mission, the ceaseless act of remembering. They are the searchers, keepers of the long conversation between Earth and awareness, and through them the story continues. The silence will come again, as it always does. So will the next rise, the next rediscovery, the next awakening of wonder beneath the turning stars. There is a quiet dialogue older than words, a timeless exchange between humanity and the Earth, between what is built and what endures. It has no beginning, no end, only the rhythm of asking and answering. Every stone laid, every myth retold, every question whispered into the unknown continues this endless conversation. History isn't a straight line, it's an echo. One voice fades as another rises. The searchers of today inherit a language shaped by the builders of forgotten worlds, and the storytellers who carried truth through disaster. Long before our recorded history, perhaps a first civilization spoke through geometry, and stone leaving messages that still hum beneath our feet. Each age believes itself original, yet all are continuations of the same question. What is this and why does it exist? It was curiosity that made the first humans lift their eyes to the stars that guided hands to carve rock into meaning, that drives our modern machines to seek answers in the silent dark of space. Through curiosity, the Earth listens to itself through us. Every civilization adds a new dialect to this eternal tongue. The ancients spoke in monuments and harmony with the stars. Philosophers translated that harmony into logic. Scientists gave it mathematics. Now our technology speaks in pulses of data, sending the dialogue beyond our planet. The language evolves, but the intent remains to understand how to exist meaningfully in a changing universe. Yet speaking without listening breaks the balance. The ancients listened to the wind, the tides, the turning of constellations. Their dialogue with the Earth was reciprocal. Ours too often is one-sided. We flood the world with noise, light and motion, while the planet's quieter voice, expressed in storms, droughts and shifting climates, reminds us that every conversation requires listening. The first builders seem to know this. Their monuments align with the sun and moon not by chance, but as sentences in the Earth's own language. Each alignment says, we saw, we listened, we became part of the pattern. Stand in such a place at dawn or under an ancient sky, and you can almost feel the dialogue stir again. What feels ancient is not the stone, but the act of noticing. Each moment of true awareness renews the conversation, and so it continues not through time alone, but through every mind willing to listen. The dialogue of existence doesn't merely flow through history, it flows through us. Every person who looks up at the stars, every scientist testing a theory, every child asking why continues the same conversation begun millennia ago. Even when we don't know it, we echo the first builders who aligned their monuments with the heavens, whispering, I see, I remember, I want to understand. If a first civilization truly existed, they must have known that words fade but relationships endure. Their message was woven not into fragile archives, but into the world itself, into instinct geometry story. We may have forgotten their language, yet we still speak its grammar. We still feel the pull to build, to measure, to link the soil beneath our feet with the stars above our heads. Even our most advanced technologies are extensions of their first questions. When we send probes across the solar system, we engrave symbols of universal meaning on their hulls. When we raise observatories, we align them to celestial rhythms. When we design our digital webs, we model them after natural systems. Each act is a continuation of the same impulse to translate the universe into meaning and reflect that meaning back into form. It's tempting to think this dialogue is one-sided, yet the planet speaks too. The Earth answers in fossils, in strata, in the slow rhythm of renewal. When a scientist unearths a tool from ancient clay, the Earth seems to murmur, you were here once. When telescopes capture light from a star long dead, the cosmos replies, you are part of me. This conversation isn't just between humans and the planet, it's between awareness and existence itself. The ancients may have known this more clearly than we do. To them, knowledge and reverence were one and the same. To understand the cosmos was to harmonize with it. They spoke through balance and number, trusting that such laws would endure the only true universal language. Perhaps their message was simple: the universe is not meant only to be studied but spoken with. To listen deeply is to participate. When they aligned their temples with the stars, they were not just observing but greeting them. Their silence after collapse was not the end of the dialogue, only a pause, a breath before the next voice answered. Today's explorers, tomorrow's thinkers, the builders of ages yet to come, all are part of this same reply. Time doesn't sever the conversation, it expands it. Each era speaks in its own tungstone and starlight data, and codes something unimaginable still to come. Yet the rhythm remains question-response wonder, understanding the heartbeat of civilization through the long silences. Even the earth itself seems fluent. Forests communicate through their roots. Rivers adjust to rainfall in living mathematics. The atmosphere balances itself like a vast mind. Life and matter are forever conversing, and we are the part that can ask aloud what the planet already knows in silence. That is why studying the ancient world is not nostalgia, it is remembrance. The pyramid builder and the astrophysicist share the same voice curiosity reaching across millennia. Somewhere in the cosmos, another world may be asking the same questions, shaping its own myths of origin, its own instruments of listening. If civilizations rise and fall everywhere, then the universe must be filled with these quiet exchanges, worlds, remembering themselves through their creations. When we send our signals into space, we join that chorus. We're not shouting into emptiness. We're adding to a vast ongoing symphony whose notes are awareness itself. The message need not be complex. We are here. We are listening. Perhaps that is all the first civilization ever meant to say. The timeless conversation needs no words. It moves through myth and science, through silence and renewal. It is what makes intelligence feel ancient even when newly born. When the first civilization fell silent, they didn't end the dialogue, they passed it forward. When we fall silent, we will do the same. The universe will continue answering through whatever form the next awareness takes. Maybe this is what immortality truly means, not the survival of any one people, but the persistence of the question itself. The same question that first rose from eyes turned toward the stars. What are we part of? Every civilization asks it. Every silence deepens it. Every rediscovery replies. And one day when another world looks upon our ruins, they may feel that same recognition, that faint sense of having heard this voice before. They'll add their own notes, their own wonder, their own pause, and the conversation will go on never ending, never repeating, only deepening. The earth will still be listening, turning slowly beneath the stars, carrying every question and every echo into the next dawn of understanding.